Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast. Coming to you out of SideQuest Studios, this is the Simpsons Index, episode 120. Hello out there, I'm your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill, and joining me in SideQuest Studios is Tom Burt.
Hello.
And here as always, except when he's not, BT Calloway.
Hoi hoi.
And thank you for joining us for the Simpsons Index. This is a podcast where we watch and review 3 episodes of The Simpsons at a time, but there's a twist. Each episode must come from a different decade. How are we doing, fellows?
Surprisingly well.
Well enough, yeah.
Yeah, and Tom, this is your first time on the Index?
Yeah, I'm a little bit terrified. There's a whole breadth of Simpsons knowledge before me, and I've just got this little piece, but here I am.
No, that's okay.
So Oscar, who was your guest last week, I believe?
Yeah, a few weeks ago now.
A few weeks ago now, okay.
We bank these.
I don't know how banking works. Yeah, he and I have been great mates for a while, went to drama school together. He's mad about cartoons, he's mad about film. I'm also mad about cartoons, mad about film, and we play a lot of D&D together, or at least we used to before he flew away to Melbourne.
He flew south for the winter.
Yeah.
And probably a lot longer. And you, what is your history with The Simpsons? We like to ask our guests, where has The Simpsons been for you all your life?
Oh, man. So this is actually a kind of weird one for me. So I wasn't allowed to watch TV before dinner. So a lot of my childhood was scheming to get us to eat dinner earlier and earlier so I could actually catch like the 6 o'clock showing of Simpsons on Channel 10.
Yep.
And if I missed that, obviously, I was a wee bit sad because we never had Foxtel. We never had any of the cable channels. What the heck is an internet? So
that thing nerds use.
yeah, Jesus. Ugh. So I just managed to see what I could then. And then I've dated a whole series of girls whose main hobby was The Simpsons. And it's just always kind of been around.
Yeah, it's one thing that I actually say on Tinder all the time is in the bio, I speak in Simpsons quotes, and I'm like, hey, ladies, I have a Simpsons podcast. It does not get as much traction as you'd think.
Yeah, it's what they say they love it, but they don't want to talk about it constantly. What the hell?
Yeah, you don't talk about it. You just communicate in GIFs.
Yeah, that's right. And you can see a lot of those GIFs on the Simpsons Index social media pages. So, yeah, you probably haven't seen many of the new episodes, I'm guessing.
No.
What are some of your favorites from the classic era, though?
Anything jazz-based, anything Lisa.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know that's not a hot opinion, but anything kind of...
Bleeding Gums Murphy.
Anything with Bleeding Gums Murphy is a favorite of mine. And actually the episode you guys talked about a couple of weeks ago where Bart and Milhouse run the androids...
Comic book store.
Yeah. What's it called?
No, it is the Androids Dungeon.
Yeah, the Androids Dungeon.
I rudely cut you off right before you did better than I would.
Well, yes, and thank you for coming along today, and we are going to torture you with some of the newer episodes, although this one wasn't too torturous, I don't think.
No.
This one was Season 29, Episode 19, Left Behind. One of the rare ones where they don't actually parody the...
I think it's a pun on left... Because he's left-handed and he's the leftorium.
Wow, you saw deeper than any of us.
Yes, I've gained a certain sight after 120 episodes.
There we go. First released in May of 2018, it was directed by Lance Kramer, and this is another confusing one with the writing. The story was by Al Jean, the teleplay was by Joel H. Cohen and John Frink, and in this episode, Flanders has shut down the Leftorium for good, and without a job, he manages to get a job at the nuclear plant as the HR officer.
Director, person?
Doesn't matter. He's not there for long before he's at 4 other jobs. Then he ends up being the substitute teacher at Springfield Elementary. Guys, what'd you think?
It moves around a little bit too much, but ultimately it's fine. It's a little lackluster on jokes, but hey, there's a plot and they stick to it, so I'll take that.
Yeah, I was surprised. Like, there was a lot of it, but it was coherent.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like laugh out loud funny for most of it, but it was like strong breath through your nose funny.
Yep. We really need to give names to these laughs because they come up so often. We as a society need to name our various types of laugh. We only have like chuckle and smirk and things.
It's like a snorkel.
Yes.
I like snorkel.
I snorkeled.
That one.
Yep.
Or like a...
Or even just a...
Yeah.
Hey. Yeah, I'm mixed on this episode. I think this is going to be very tricky for me to rank, but let's get in deep with it. We'll start with the questionnaire, and we'll start with you, BT. For better or worse, what's a moment from this episode that stands out to you?
I got to give this one a positive and say, because for a while, there's a bit where... So Homer gets Ned the job at the HR for the nuclear power plant, and then he prays to get him fired and then blames himself for getting it fired, which is a little bit the wishbone wishing episode, but
Yeah.
and then Bart kind of does the same thing, and I was kind of like, well, Homer's meant to feel bad, but it never comes back, but then it did come back, and I was like, oh, okay, thank you for remembering your own episode.
Which is something that we're very critical of them.
Yeah, because for a while there, it felt like it was just moving from one thing to another, which to be fair, it did, but at least they kind of tied it back at the ending. Not terribly well. Like, it wasn't really clear why Homer didn't like Ned was a big dweeb, sure, but he wasn't causing any real trouble for Homer, even though he could have been, because he was the one person who could have been, who noticed he was not actually sick. He has that whole line of, now, Homer, I know your father didn't die.
Yeah.
But he's, making excuses for not being at work. But Homer doesn't even seem annoyed at that scene. And then the next scene is, oh, God, I can't stand Flanders anymore. It's like, yeah, you can. You're not even at, rage yet. But for the most part, I do appreciate they did finally remember, oh, yeah, Homer's going to feel guilty. Bart's going to feel guilty. Let's bring that around.
So the one thing that I didn't know about Homer's guilt in this was, did he actually, tell Mr. Burns to fucking fire him? Because when Homer was driving Ned home in the next scene, it was like, listen, Flanders, he was responsible?
It feels entirely, he's like, my prayer was answered and I got you fired. Again,
Oh,
a lot like the Wishbone episode.
Very theological episode.
Yeah. Especially for Homer, he doesn't believe in that. And plus, Ned was fired for standing up to Mr. Burns. That happens all the time.
Yeah. How about you, Tom? What's a moment from this episode that stands out to you, for better or worse?
Honestly, this episode was chock-a-block with callbacks, but easily just my favorite that made me all warm inside was seeing Flanders make his hot cocoa, his famous hot cocoa, in Homer's mouth.
Yep, from the Simpsons movie.
Yeah, it was just...
that was a good
really?
pan-out reveal that it was in Homer's mouth, and so that was the same one he makes for
right.
Bart.
I had forgotten entirely.
It was just pleasant. It just harked back to all things nice.
It looked good as well. You're like, I could go a hot chocolate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's actually one. I don't know if you've seen this, Tom, but there's a show called Binging with Barbish on YouTube, and he attempts to recreate recipes that he's seen on television. And so what he'll do is he'll make it faithful to the show, and it'll inevitably not work, and then he'll remake a good version. And yeah, he had so much trouble with the Flanders hot chocolate, just getting it to even structurally stand.
And I mean, I can't eat marshmallows, so just seeing marshmallows being toasted like that, it just makes me...
Because you want to see them burn, or because you like to taste it with your brain?
Yeah, I like to taste it with my brain.
Okay.
And the riot in the classroom was also amazing, because there was the laser and the pencil sharpener.
Yeah, that just
that's a really good
cascades
gag.
out Dark Side of the Moon style.
Yeah.
The mutton gig's a gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's what I was wondering in that scene as well. Why is he getting in on it? And I'm like, oh, that's actually not a bad explanation.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say what stood out to me is the whole Flanders becoming substitute teacher. And we sort of said this off podcast. This felt like a bit of a Frankenstein episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Sorry, someone has to... I felt like a bit of a Frankenstein's monster episode.
Yeah, so when we've already done Flanders the principal, getting him back in the school is going to be tricky.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. He ran the whole goddamn school. He can't teach a single class. Fuck off.
So many bits.
Yeah. And the thing that got him fired was the whole prayer in a public school thing.
Yeah.
Which, he leans into heavily. And yeah, I gotta say, I didn't really buy the whole Bart helping him out thing. I don't know. It felt like too late of an addition to the storyline to actually have the meaning that it wanted it to.
Yeah. And you know what? There is some dead air to cut from this one, because even though the fuck you beginning isn't too bad, where it's all about the eclipse, and then Marge is all, oh, Homer, you need to be more romantic, then they have date night, you can just cut the whole eclipse bit, start on date night, that's enough, that's fine, and then you've got a bit more time to spend on that ending.
Yeah, I think the eclipse bit was just acknowledging that it was a thing that happened last year. Yeah.
Which, by the time it came out, would have been 6 months later.
Yeah. So play count. How many times before today do you think you've seen this episode? We'll start with you, Tom.
I think once. I think I went on a binge a little while back where I tried watching a whole bunch of new Simpsons, and it just never really panned out for me, and I just...
Because you purged afterwards.
I went back to Futurama.
Yeah. A significantly more consistent show. How about you, BT?
I've never seen it.
Yeah, I don't actually think I've seen this one.
Other than the sense that, wait, what?
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's never happened before. How are we even for viewership?
Well, see, the funny thing is about doing a Simpsons podcast, with what other time I have outside of doing this show, one thing I don't really feel like doing is watching The Simpsons, especially the new ones.
Yeah, fair.
To the point that I've only seen like half of the season 30 episodes that have aired at the moment. And I think there's still like another couple of season 29 episodes that I still haven't watched. So Yeah, that's the one time that's happened before.
I know. All I have to do is watch it once more, and I'll be ahead of you for one time, finally. So it's play count, and I go, once or twice. And Elliot's like, 16!
And I hate this fucking episode.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've seen it, and
Yeah.
neither of you
I
have.
know.
Yeah.
What?
No.
You show up once, and everything breaks.
So let's talk about the wackiness of this episode. So what were the cartoony elements that stood out to you guys from this one?
Nitrous.
Yeah. And out of nowhere as well.
Like,
It's
as a purveyor of the occasional Nang myself, that just that felt weird.
Yeah.
It was very like, Mo just goes, what? You can't have date night tonight. Tonight's the night we watch them Nitrous the Ants. And they go all crazy. Here's a small demo of it. Like, why?
Yeah. And then, Mo taking the hit and turning blue.
Yeah. Kids, if you turn blue, see a doctor.
Yeah.
Or a mortician.
Use a balloon at least, Jesus.
Yeah. Direct from the nozzle. Those things get cold.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's not just doing whippets. Like, he's got
He has the whole thing.
fucking
Pure
tank.
uncut nitrous.
Oh, fucking crazy. And while we're talking about cartoony elements and Mo's, Bart and Maggie are apparently regulars there.
Yeah, but I at least kind of like the explanation of, as laboured as the term, I come here for a G&T, a gumball and a talk. It's like, but I kind of appreciate, because they've done that before where the kids are there having, a glass of milk or something like that. And occasionally Moe's does get portrayed as a bit more of a, you can bring your kids to a place instead of the scungy filth bar it is sometimes also portrayed as.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have preferred that, like, without the explanation. Like, he just rolls in the gumball and you just put it together.
Yeah.
I do agree, though, it was laboured. And G&T, that opens you up to so many other areas, like ginger beer and tank of nitrous oxide.
At least it would bring it back. We know they have it.
Yeah. Any other wackiness that stood out to you guys?
There's a bit I did quite like, which is when Ned first starts working in HR, he's got a little smiley face thing on his desk, and Mr. Burns gets a good line of, stares at the thing, and is like, I will break you by lunchtime. But then later on in the episode, it's gone to a quarter smile. It's losing it slowly.
okay.
As Ned
Didn't
loses
even
it
pick
slowly.
that up.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Wow, background details that I didn't even notice. I did notice they were kind of going for a background gag with Ned and the skunk. And they kind of do this, like, they take advantage of the widescreen to, like, undercut the exposition-y script work and have wackiness go on in the back. But yeah, Ned going, oh, God, give me a sign. And then the skunk comes back. It was so fucking obvious.
They just cut it to a foreground gag.
Yeah.
What's the point of putting it in the background to begin with?
Yeah, it felt like a weird pacing of that, yeah.
Man, there's a whole wacky subplot I think we need to address, which is Todd and Lisa.
Why were they in the house?
That was my first note. It's like Rod and Todd are just around, and it's like, but your dad worked anyway, so surely you would be wherever you normally are.
It's like they just combined the Sim households.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because, our dads work together, and now I guess we live together. What?
And you could have, like, explained it away in one line, like, Dad's not bringing in any money, so we're renting out the house for a while. Boom.
Yeah, or, just he works longer hours now, because before when it was his own business, he could pick his hours.
Yeah, sure.
Again, it's a line.
Our dads are friends now. We have to stay here.
Yeah, even
Anything.
then. Yeah.
Just anything.
They just knock on the door instead of just being there already.
Yeah.
And for the record, your accent then was way closer to Todd's real voice
Yeah.
than this episode.
I wrote down
He was so deep in this one.
He was so Ralph in this one.
Yeah.
Did we talk about Marge at the beginning yet?
Oh.
Poor Julie Kavanagh's voice slowly dying. Yeah, it hurts,
God.
doesn't it? You're just hearing like, oh man, someone get that woman a
Just
lozenge.
that opening sentence.
Oh God.
Homer.
Yeah. I do like the line that she's probably at this point done more growls than your average death medalist.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole Todd and Lisa subplot. Fuck, I almost forgot it happened.
Yeah, because
man.
it's so.
It didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, he's all weird, and then in the end, he's made a diorama of the house. The end.
Yeah, it's just,
Like that's it.
I'm so sick of my brother. That's enough. And then the subplot ends.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm Todd. At least I think I am.
I mean, that I like as a joke because I can never remember which
Yeah,
one's which.
it's happened so much in this podcast.
Yeah.
Not as much as people confusing Sherry for Terry. Oh my goodness.
Don't even start.
Two distinctly different characters.
I know, racists.
And with the whole, Rod and Todd staying at home and doing the mannequin challenge while Ned's off at teaching school. Like, the other thing is, like, and it was only done in a HD era episode, it was explained why Todd and Rod don't go to Springfield Elementary is actually they go to a Christian private school. Yeah, so the whole thing about them staying with the Simpsons is even weirder because of that.
Yeah, they've always gone somewhere, even when we've never known for sure.
Yeah.
Does that mean they're just alone in the house when everyone's gone? Or if they're
no.
just with Marge and Maggie?
God is watching them.
Oh.
Marge, Maggie, and God.
Yeah.
He seems like a pretty inconsistent babysitter, though.
I mean, you get your occasional Isaac moments, but the rest of the time it's okay.
Yeah, and God actually was a continuous cutaway.
Reoccurring character in this one.
Yeah.
And not for anything particularly funny at any
No,
point.
I do like the bit where it's like, but if you pray when you're eating lunch, doesn't it interrupt God's lunch? God's like, finally someone thinks of me.
Yeah.
I was okay with that one. But,
There was just something weird about the delivery. It was like,
yeah.
oh, finally someone remembers me.
Yeah.
Just quick, short and snappy. Get it
Yep.
over with.
Why did God throw down lightning at one point as well?
Because he was agreeing with him as well. He's like, yeah, lightning. I'm Zeus now.
It's just business.
Yeah.
That's right. He went all iced tea on them.
Yeah.
It's not personal. It's just business. Yeah, so I was like, was there any wacky moments? But yeah, because this episode is so fucking all over the place, yeah, there are a lot of wacky moments that, I just straight up forgot about. Like, especially to do with the eclipse. There were a couple of weird gags around that. Yeah, with the bugs attacking Nelson, which...
Well, it was quick and it was okay.
And then Lenny, this was a little bit of wackiness that I like. He's like, oh, I told you to use the eye protector. And he's like, I thought you meant to stand on it.
Yeah, I didn't like that, but I like the callback where then he's wearing a bandage that says, looking for eye donor, Hazel preferred.
Yeah. And they called back to it as well when there was a HR meeting and he was wearing the single eye patch. So
he's
he
got
got
one.
Yeah.
He managed to get one Hazel. Yeah, there's probably a bit more wackiness to talk about, but for now, let's move on to the heart. Was this a particularly heartfelt episode of The Simpsons?
You know, it should have been. And so yet I feel nothing. Now, I could be dead as a human being. We've all discussed this.
Mm-hmm.
But it just bounced around so much. There wasn't anything to grip onto. Like, you don't really feel much for Ned's despondency or Homer's guilt or really any of it because we just move so much.
Yeah, and with Homer feeling guilty as well, like, that they then moved it to Bart and Ned.
Yeah.
Yeah, tied into this whole feeling of not really a settled storyline, I guess.
It got a couple of like solid heartbeats in there. It just wasn't like a continuous pump.
Yeah.
Like there was a couple of moments with Bart and Flanders that were like, oh, yeah, that's nice. That's a real connection there. But just not often.
Yeah.
Well, no, I agree. Like, I think I felt more for Bart and Flanders than I did for Homer and Flanders.
Yeah.
And especially when they go over to Ned's house and, Bart's like, what would Mrs. K do? And, like, he looked at the picture and apparently, this was an archival recording because,
Oh, really?
Because, unfortunately, Marsha Wallace, had died about 4 or 5 years previous to this episode.
All right, I feel better that it's an archive voice because I wrote down in very large letters, you do not overdub Miss Krabappel. But if it's actually her voice, that's different.
And I'm pretty sure, that was pinched from a HD era episode where, if you can teach it one kid one thing, then that's a success. And that was a really sweet moment, I think.
Stolen from an episode no one would have seen.
Yep.
I think I've seen that episode as well.
My God, what the hell?
I've just seen weird ones.
You're like the ringer we brought in.
So with Bart and Ned at the end as well, with Bart like helping Ned and pranking his way into being an effective teacher. What'd you guys think of that?
Again, it was an okay idea. It was just so rushed and hurried and had so much to do with a remote-controlled skeleton.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that. There was more of that than there needed to be. There needed to be another thing.
Yeah, they needed a third trick pulled out of the hat. Because just having, the board flashes up with behave, sure, that's effective. You could probably pull that together. But yeah, everything else was just,
So, kind of wackiness as well. Did Bart line out the end written in thumbtacks on Flanders' chair?
Yeah.
And he didn't notice it?
And he sat on that many tacks and was like, well, I'm actually into this. Joke's on you, Bart. That's my fetish.
Yeah. And it was annoying that, they go the end and then there was a...
Yeah, then there's another bite.
Yeah, which I hated all that stuff with everybody's inner monologue. Yeah, with Sherry going, oh, I hope I beat Terry to the training bra.
Where did that come from? This was so previously somewhat wholesome.
Yeah, for real.
Yep. I will say I did like the hamsters. I'm starting to suspect this wheel doesn't go anywhere.
Okay, yeah, that's
just
not
mostly
bad.
for the delivery.
Yeah, it was really good bit of voiceover, but it felt oddly Family Guy.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, actually, there were a few moments of this episode that I'd say felt Family Guy. Oh, like when Homer and Marge were like, getting snuggly, and then all of a sudden his fantasy sequence.
That was also, everything was very intense in that snuggling sequence. Like, I want you. I want you too. I only want you.
Yeah, it's really
it's like,
weird hearing "I Want You" from the lead vocalist of Behemoth.
Snuggle.
But yeah, he imagining Wonder Woman and then the beer, then Wonder Woman with the beer, and then the oh my god, it just fucking dragged.
It dragged on, and for a second there, he wanted to fuck a beer.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, haven't we all wanted to fuck a beer at some point?
not physicly.
Let me put on a little music to get me in the mood. Dun, 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 dun.
And a lot of Crisco.
Hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer. And the best cold beer is Vic. Awkward.
I have the weirdest boner right now.
That's got to stay in.
Oh, actually, we're talking about the heart, and we haven't mentioned the date night. How did we like Homer's date night?
He did really well. I mean, it started off really stupidly because he's at the bar going, oh, she wants to go on a date night, but I've spent years ignoring everything she thinks and says. You're like, thanks. But then he actually goes to the effort, like, bravo.
I liked that he was, like, watching all the YouTube tutorials.
Yeah, especially how to turn off your iPad. Because I've seen iPhone users not know how to lock their own iPhones. Like,
Oh, God.
how? How do you not know? The end of the date night as well, they go on that romantic gondola ride, and then the gondola's parked outside the house. I got a good laugh.
Yep, put that in the things that managed to get to the Simpsons driveway playlist that shouldn't have.
Yeah, I think there's a swan boat at one point.
Oh,
that
the
does same
Flanders
thing. Yeah,
piloted there. I'm saying piloted because what is it when you drive a swan boat?
piloting.
Yeah. I liked Homer's idea for the romantic night as well, which was pedals, even more pedals, and then all diehards. But I got to say, with the whole pedals thing, something I like, because I was 18 at the time when I did this, I covered the bed in pedals, and my girlfriend at the time was like, oh, that's so sweet. And then, yeah, found out that they just stained the fuck out of our bed sheets.
Yep.
So, yeah, putting pedals on your carpet, probably don't do that.
Get pedal-colored sheets.
Ah, and pedal-colored carpet.
But then the pedals just slowly rot in your bed
Because
sheets.
you can't find them.
Yeah.
Ah, right.
You get
All right,
ants.
fine. Just get used to ants.
Nitrous ants.
They go very fast. And I did actually like the restaurant scene with the corkage joke, and he had a big box of Pinot Meh, which I think you can get for $6 at Dan Murphy's these days.
5.
5, even better. And yeah, I weirdly liked the violinist waiter joke.
Yeah, they've done that before, but hey, it works.
Ah.
What, that you can bribe someone into having musical talent?
Yeah, they've done like the episode you didn't like, Kill the Alligator and Run, where Homer starts playing piano badly and they whip him and he starts playing perfectly.
Oh, yeah, good
You
point.
know, they've done it a couple of times, but it's a joke I always like. We were even talking earlier about how much would you need to be paid to sell out your own morals for like an ad or something. I'm like, how much would you need to pay someone to suddenly be great at violin?
And, hit us up. Let's see how much you can buy the Simpsons Index approval for.
We've literally asked for drugs to sponsor us before, so our morals are not high, but our integrity is.
Only because no one's offered us enough money yet.
It's true.
Or enough
If
drugs.
Tim Long's like, hey, here's a whole bunch of money to love the new Simpsons episodes, we'll be like, yeah, back that truck up.
We're re-reviewing the Lady Gaga episode because, to be fair, it is fantastic.
I know, cubic zirconia all the way down.
But ultimately, though, guys, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons? Character integrity, show integrity, how was it?
Other than its very slapdash pacing, I'm going to say no one's out of character, and it does feel like The Simpsons, just so very patchwork of it.
Yeah. Everyone except Rod and Todd,
Yeah.
Mm,
Yes.
who are just broken Sims.
for real.
Yeah, their programming's shut down, so they're just frozen like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And someone, for weird reasons, boxed them inside the Simpsons house.
Yeah. I think we solved it, guys.
They
Yeah.
took away the doors.
At least they didn't take away the toilets, like I did to all my Sims.
Or the pool ladder. Like I did to all my Sims.
Clean the stove, people. It's important.
Yeah, look, the integrity of this episode, I totally agree. There's, like, the Todd stuff is weird, but also it doesn't go far enough in any direction for it to be a character break. It's just is odd. And I'd say the other problem I have with the integrity is just the voice work, but it's just by nature of the actors getting older. Like,
Yeah.
Ned sounded off, Todd sounded off, Marge, we just said before, that's, a bit worrying. But, yeah, otherwise, Yeah, integrity's not what's going wrong with this episode. I guess it felt a bit Family Guy at times with, its slapdashness, so the show as a whole feeling a bit off, but otherwise the characters are pretty fine. But yes, no, would you watch this one again?
Probably not.
No?
No real reason to.
Yeah, I'd say hangover test only.
Yeah, I don't know, because I still don't know how I feel. Like,
Well, I mean, for me, there's nothing to go back to.
Yeah.
So if it's on, I don't dislike it enough to reach the remote. I mean, I'm lying down, I'm comfortable.
yeah,
But yeah, there's no reason to go, oh, hey, this one, I'm going to sit down. No. If you're not already sitting, no.
yeah. Look, I might maybe in the context of a playlist. So if you're going to put this in a playlist of Simpsons episodes, what playlist would it go in?
Ned Jobs, I guess.
Yeah.
The opening of the Leftorium and that. Like the saga of the Leftorium.
Actually, I will point out that there was because we were sort of debating a little while ago, like what Ned went to college for,
Yeah, true.
Because apparently, he used to work in pharmaceutical sales, and apparently his degree is in casting out demons, and he's fluent in Aramaic.
But also teaching. I mean, teaching was
teaching.
the main chunk.
Right, yeah, because they actually made that comeback. Interesting.
Which is then kind of weird that he takes that long to get around to a teaching job. But okay,
yeah, for real.
in retrospect.
And I don't remember if the other episode was good, where they established that the Leftorium has moved to like one of those
Kiosk things.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the
Right.
kind of places that reach out at you and it's like, hey, want to be my customer? And it's like, no, if you were good enough, you'd have a shop front.
It's like a sunglass hut.
Yeah, exactly.
The Leftorium Express first appeared in White Christmas Blues, which we gave a unanimous failure, so no, don't watch that one.
BT, what would you like to change about this episode?
Trim some stuff out of that beginning. Give the whole thing a bit more pacing. Spend a bit more time with. Go from Ned as HR to Ned as a teacher. Cut out a lot of that in between stuff. He was like on a cruise with old people dancing, and he's like, "Oh, keep 5 Bible distances between the two of you." And like, Ned, they're 80. Let them fuck.
Yeah, for real. And he was a photographer for Rolling Stone.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere. And then he trimmed their hair and made them all look like him. And like,
I thought they were going to do like a joke on that Oakley Dokley, the Flanders band.
yeah,
I thought that would have been a prime.
come on. Even Flanders think they suck.
Yeah, they do. They're terrible.
So yeah, you can get rid of all that. So and just extend the other two parts. And I like the idea that both Homer and Bart slight Ned just because he's kind of invaded their space and like, oh, I've actually been a bad person.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing anything wrong. I just didn't like him in my space. And then they kind of come together over that. That's fine, but it happened so quickly and was given the same amount of time as everything else that didn't matter. It felt like it didn't matter, even though that was the driving point. So that's what I would change, Elliot.
How about you, Tom? What would you like to change about this episode?
Firstly, just separate the two houses. Have some kind of collision point between them as opposed to just having them in the same spots the entire time where things are just happening for no particular reason. And just have some more conflict between Homer and Flanders to actually get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's almost like they set up that whole thing like, because Homer didn't actually recommend him. He just said, here's the number to call. And Lenny said later, oh, a recommendation from you would have sunk him. Like, why wasn't that the point of conflict?
Yeah, or even because Ned does things like, oh, when you're all having lunch, I've turned all the tables inwards so we can have a prayer circle. And then that's not a problem for anyone. Like if it had been, Homer had been like, but I hate having people watch me eat, then they count the donuts or something like that because there's no problem for him. He's just like, aren't you interrupting God having his lunch? And it's like, that's an okay joke, but this doesn't illustrate why Ned at your workplace is a problem for you.
Yeah. No, it's really confusing. Yeah, what I'd change? I don't know that I'd have Ned become a teacher, but then again, that's where I did say before I felt the most heart, so I'd say, go one way or the other. Either Flanders is at Springfield Elementary or he's at the nuclear power plant. Like, dividing the acts between this, is really does make this episode feel so slapdash and doesn't feel like there's an arc there. Like one big overarching story, it just sort of feels like it's jumping up and down and going to a whole bunch of different places.
It's like an excited terrier just jumping up and down.
I think that's what it was. We had no real A story, B story. It was just all A story, but there was 2 A stories between Flanders and 2 different people.
Yeah.
Oh, and then also, fuck off the whole Lisa Todd thing. You guys didn't know what you were doing with it, so...
Again, imagine the writer's room on this one. Hey, what if Todd annoys Lisa? Oh, that's amazing. Where do we go with that? I don't know. I'm out of ideas. I'm going home.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, because, his creepiness did feel a bit Milhousey. And there was something funny about the line of Lisa going, oh, God, this makes me miss Milhouse. Then it cuts to him for some fucking joke about his black socks. What?
He's just in the house and he's like, I knew I've been in luck switching to grey socks from white socks? What?
Yeah, ladies love dark socks, apparently. Right in, ladies.
Guest stars of the episode: Michael Dees, who is actually a frequent Simpsons voice actor. He does a lot of the male singing stuff. Yeah, he sung My Funny Valentine for them. And yeah, as we mentioned, Marsha Wallace in an archived performance. Any other music that stood out to you guys from this episode? Musical moments?
No.
There was a violin.
Yeah. He could play pretty good for enough money.
Superman plays pretty good. You play pretty well.
Damn it. All right, we're here. BT, any other notes?
I do like Ned's line of, he's talking about the Leftorium kiosk closing down. He's like, all I really got was right-handed college students looking to experiment. I was like, that's pretty good. I like that.
I wrote that down too.
Yeah. And Mr. Burns has a sign up at work just says, don't read this work.
And there was an implied sign gag as well when Flanders first came to the Simpsons home. He's like, I know you had your Keep Out Flanders sign up, but I needed to talk. I like that. An implied sign gag.
Yeah, it was good.
How about you, Tom? Any other notes?
Nope.
Ah, not bad.
I'm all done.
There wasn't a lot to note on this one. Well, that's the thing. I think I would have written down more, but it was so obvious how many points weren't going to have any weight or weren't going to matter at all. So I was like, I'm just going to ignore this.
Yeah.
Like all of Ned's jobs between the plant and teaching. It's like, this isn't going to matter, so I'm not going to write it down.
The Ferris wheel opening was a great metaphor for the show. It just smashed up the house and then it was done.
Yeah. Oh, and this was another couch gag where I thought, oh, cool. Ferris wheel in the Simpsons house. Beautiful, simple. But then they just took a couple of extra bites for why?
They stop down and go, oh, totally worth it. Yeah, so worth it. Again, it's like, no, just have them going, woo, and then cut. Or coming back to the ruined living room and then cut.
Yeah, I feel like we've been having to mention the couch gags so much lately because of how much they keep taking this extra bite. And yeah, like you said, metaphor for the show. Had something, took too many bites.
Yep.
All right, it's time for my final notes.
Now it's time for his final notes. Elliot's final notes.
So was that the fry pan grease you poured into the milk carton?
He adds it to his coffee.
Oh. I mean, good joke, but also ill, but also good.
Mm-hmm.
Flanders, when he's getting the job at the power plant, Mr. Burns goes, I might need to take your blood occasionally. And Flanders goes, that's okay. My blood type is B positive, like my attitude. Mr. Burns cannot use that blood for him because he's got a rare 00 negative.
That's right.
Nah. I hated the I Love Rock and Roll song parody. Let's pray, pray, and pray. Pray,
Yeah, but
pray,
at
pray,
least
pray.
it was supposed to be bad, so...
Yeah,
A
but...
magical ministry tour.
Nah, that's not bad. But it does remind me of another HD era episode that had a really good one where Homer's like, oh, Flanders, what music do you like? I like AC/DC. And Flanders like, oh, I like ADBC. They do AC/DC religious covers. Kindly deeds done for free. Kindly deeds done for free.
That's just low-key as someone who is raised in that kind of thing. That's a real thing. That's been a real thing for decades now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What, like... it's almost like Kids Bop, but for religion?
Yeah, that's a thing.
Oh, wow.
That's a thing that is sung.
We've all learned something today.
Indeed. The mop-up drool gag went for way, way, way too long. And
Sorry, whole lot of rosary there. So I was trying to think of other ACD cross-religion jokes. I feel good about that one. Continue.
there was another really bad Kirk joke. I've come to a theory on Kirk in the recent seasons is that he's just essentially another Gil now, and it really bugs me. And it's the same in this scene where it's like, don't become a lifeguard if you don't know how to swim, and then that's all that scene is.
Yeah.
When Flanders gets the sign from God in the sky, and then the reveal is that it was the Duff blimp that was on fire.
Yep.
Is he dead?
Duffman must be dead. Oh no.
Duffman.
Yeah, so, okay, first of all, Jordan's Anal Corner. We have a friend who's really anal retentive, so we named a segment after him.
Yeah, and over time, we just went from yelling at Town Crier to just getting slowly more, like, degenerating the phrasing.
That's all right. I'll
So it
change
went
my
from
pants.
Jordan's Anal Corner to...
By the end of the podcast, it'll just be... So, yeah, okay, fire's going to be brighter than the writing on the digital thing. And I think they only did it just so Duffman could say Duff Mankind, which, excellent word, was wasted in this moment.
Yep.
It's time to rank this thing. On the Simpsons Index, we rank using our 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe if the episode was just meh, you give it participant. But for the positive rankings, you got okay bronze, good silver, excellent gold, but for the best of the very best, you give cubic zirconia. Let me go first. I'm going to show you how it's done. God damn, I thought I'd know by now. Look, it was almost a bronze, but I can't help it. It's a participant. It was ultimately really flat. There were some good bits in it, which kind of makes this disappointing for me, but yeah, really, I just don't really want to return to it. BT.
Yeah, a handful of good jokes, like proper laugh-out-loud jokes, even proper chuckle jokes, I would have bronzed it, because it's coherent, and unlike a lot of modern Simpsons, which is a bunch of nonsense thrown together, this one's a cut above those, but I can't give it anything higher than a participant. I was just on the whole enterprise, and I've forgotten most of it already, and we just finished talking about it.
Yeah. And Tom, finish it off.
Yeah, participant for me as well. Like, if it was coming up, if I was watching the disc of this season, I wouldn't skip it, but I certainly wouldn't sit down on the couch. I would
get up to
continue
pee
doing my
during this
chores.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, averaging out, that'll be a unanimous participant. This will be joining other unanimous participants from season 29. This will be the fourth one. It'll be joining the Surfsons, where they do that weird medieval fucking episode without context or anything. It's just the Simpsons are medieval this episode.
Yep. Weird.
Yep. Fears of a Clown, which we did with Hottest 100s and Thousands, where Krusty tries to reinvent himself as a legitimate theatre actor.
Oh, theatre.
And King Lear, which we reviewed with David Malloy a few weeks ago. That's where we meet Moe's family.
Oh, yeah, that was odd.
Oh, I remember actually kind of liking that one.
It's got some moments, but overall, just
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a let's meet this B character's family. Like, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we move on, is that reputation justified?
Is that reputation justified?
So, old mate Dennis Perkins of the AV Club.
Dennis the Wildcard Perkins.
This isn't the wild card in the opposite direction than we're used to, though.
Oh, yeah.
He gave this episode a D+,
Ooh.
which for the
Wow.
AV Club is like failure territory.
He burned it down. Wow.
Yeah, what does he have to say? Let's find out. Left Behind is about everything and nothing. To be more accurate, this record-setting episode, because this was the one that officially overtook Gunsmoke as the most episodes of a television show,
Ah, okay.
Ah.
Gunsmoke.
which held the record before. This record-setting episode begins being about more than half a dozen things, and then never quite pays off a single one. An oil in water quality suffuses episodes like this. The half, at best, realized plot lines too insubstantial to register for moments past their half-assed completion.
Wow.
That is like...
I mean, he's not wrong. It's just a lot harder than he usually is.
I don't quite agree about the half dozen plots things, because...
There's 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we said, like the Flanders thing was like in 2 parts, and then like the Lisa thing was pretty inconsequential, but it's not like one of those ones like Frink Gets Testy. Remember there was like fucking 4 plot lines to that one?
Yeah. That one hurts.
Yeah.
So I did a quick Google. Gunsmoke is routinely placed amongst the best shows of any kind and any time. There were 20 seasons, and it had 635 episodes.
I wonder if you'd, like, program a slightly better episode for the one that's record-breaking.
You'd think, but no.
But also the Simpsons, like, sort of production schedule does get in the way of them, like, acknowledge sometimes when they do break these records. Like, Fears of a Clown, the one that I mentioned before, that one had the acknowledgement that they'd beaten Gunsmoke in the couch gag, and then Lisa goes, oh, we're still off by a couple of episodes, and it's like, well, fucks won't let us animate this again, right? And it's like, well, animate it for the right fucking episode then.
No.
And that's it. They could have put it in this one where it did actually happen, but they didn't.
I shan't.
No. All right, well, it's time to move on to the Teens Era episode where the Simpsons participate in a reality show.
Oh, this one have Ziggy or Twiggy or whatever his name is.
Squiggy.
Squiggy. There it is.
Yep, we are going to season 14's Helter Shelter. We'll be back. And we are back, and we just watched our Teens Era episode. This was season 14, episode 5, Helter Shelter. First released in December of '02, it was directed by Mark Kirtland, written by Brian Pollack and Mert Rich. In this episode, the Simpsons get a termite problem, and so without a house, they decide to go on a reality TV show that's set in the late 1800s, where they can only do 1800s things. But the reality show apparently gets boring, so they pick up the house and set it adrift. Guys, what did you think?
Bloody great.
Pretty good. Just quick question. Mert Rich?
Mert Rich.
M-U-R-T is this guy's first name.
M-E-R-T.
Mert. Mert.
If we had a child, he'd be Mert Burt.
You have a new quest in life.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I thought this episode was overall good. I know this one is actually, it gets a bad rap too.
Yeah, I think for me it was one that started off quite well and for the most part was okay, but then it just kind of declined. They didn't know how to finish this one.
Yeah, for
And
real.
I think it really shows that. And I think that's why maybe it gets a bad rap, is that people remember the ending because that's what you're left with. That's your final taste. And it's just slapped together and it just, it's, yeah, not as strong as some of the opening stuff, which is a shame.
But those first 20 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah,
a
are
lot of
just
fun. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
No, there are so many jokes in here which I lump in with the most memorable moments of The Simpsons, honestly. I mean, even the very last thing of the episode, which I'm going to say stood out to me from the episode because I love it so much, was Law and Order Special Elevator Elevator Inspector.
Take 3.
Elevator Inspectors Unit.
Law
Law
and-
and Order.
Law and Order Elevator Inspectors Unit. So good. Just a great little quippy way to end the episode, which comments on the fact that at that time there were 6 billion Law and Orders.
Yeah, Dick Wolf has his own channel now. All crime all the time.
So much Dick Wolf.
Mm.
Yeah. See, the problem here is the 5-button light is out.
I think I'm going to be sick.
So good. How about you, Tom? What's something from this episode that stood out to you for better or worse?
Oh, Jesus, the hot fudge pot. Just, there were so many little gags that were thrown in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost all of them around that great skybox bit where,
But yeah, and just so perfectly timed and everything's just thrown in really well. And it's got so much forward momentum that just keeps it going.
This is an episode that really hits the ground running because it starts, and I love this joke, Homer's walking around whistling, a pipe just falls on him and he's kind of unconscious but still whistling.
The comedic timing of that is just beautiful, though. And I think, because we've all seen this episode before, but it totally still took us by surprise.
Yeah, I know. I think we all got a laugh out of that. And then, yeah, that's how they get Skybox tickets to pay him off for that. And that's how they get termites. And that's how they get to the show. It all flows very quickly.
Around that Skybox section, yeah, these were a lot of my favorite gags of this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And especially that fudge pot. Can't they just be happy for my success?
As they're scaling the wall medieval style, just scold. Yeah.
It just gets you laughing in the first 5 seconds of the episode and you don't stop.
Yeah.
And I love Marge's line there of, you get all the excitement of being in the sky with all the safety of being in a box.
Yeah. And I was just looking for it. I found it. Yeah. Moe's line after he gets covered in fudge. Oh, goddamn. I just got all that gum out of my armpits. Jesus Christ, Mo. How about you, BT? What's a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
I like the continuity of Lisa being into hockey because, we have that episode with her and Bart playing ice hockey where she's the goalie, so she understands when the shooting puck guy is aiming for the goal where he should aim, the 5-hole, which apparently, whatever. But it sounds like sport.
Yeah.
And it's continuity. So, yeah, I appreciate that.
And she gets rewarded with his hockey tree.
And also, they don't draw too much attention that the Springfield ice hockey team is called the Ice-O Terps.
Oh.
Yeah.
And also just the name of the arena, the Gosh, Your Hair Smells Terrific arena. I wrote that down just
I missed that
immediately.
as well.
Just perfect.
Yeah.
So it's like the slogan of a brand, not even the brand itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a weird thing where, no one wanted to go to hockey either.
Yeah, I do like the little sign lights up. Tonight, hockey. And everyone's like, no!
Yeah, it still draws a crowd. But, I mean, even Homer, forgetting about where they were at. All right, fine. Have fun at your Eagles concert, sweetie.
We're at a hockey game.
Yeah. Oh, I found all that stuff really charming. Play count. How many times before tonight do you think you've seen this episode?
I think probably 2, but I wouldn't bet on it.
Yep.
7.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen this a bunch, and I keep coming into this concept of an episode that fools me, where it starts out, better than it ends. And this is the case here, but yeah, I didn't really, if I hated it where it went before, I wasn't that down on it this time. I just thought of the ending, That's a bit slapped together. That's a bit weak.
Yeah, I was sitting there going, I'm pretty sure the ending sucks, but hey, you know what? I'm having a good time now.
Yeah. I really think this was a fun ride. And it was a wacky ride. So let's talk about some of those wacky moments that stood out to us.
They king of the hill for a while there.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hey!
But so tastefully, without too much effort on it. It's
Yeah.
like you're not trying to imitate lines. You're not trying to do anything else. It's just really solid
Then
little
I'm like,
tribute.
yep.
Yeah, and there were like a few little cool things, like someone threw out a couch and like Kirk comes along and picks it up, and
Yeah.
nice little visual jokes.
Some high-speed jokes.
Yeah. And I liked how Homer goes, that was boring, let's do something else. Tying into my opinion of King of the Hill.
Ooh.
Savage.
It's a fine show, but one, it doesn't age well, and also it is really boring at times. Yeah, any other wacky moments?
Maggie is a mean drunk.
Yeah.
Sorry, I really like her throwing the
So
punch.
great.
Just stumbling back and then stumbles forward, and Bart's like,
And then they immediately cut away from it and keep on going.
Yeah.
An accidental playlist, yeah, kids in the bar.
Yeah, true. Do we have a running theme this episode? Whoop, we'll find out.
Sims as well,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
with the opening.
Yeah, they even like made some of those like sim sound effects as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The termites are the no woodnicks.
Oh, yeah, the Russian no woodnicks.
Yeah.
And Raphael as well is strangely demented in this episode.
Yeah,
I think.
it's weird. I don't like the joke where he's like, to get rid of these, I'm going to have to act like a bug, think like a bug. And he starts biting the table. But it is kind of saved when Marge's like, why do you always get the cheapest guys? I go by how funny the sign is. And It's just a bug's death.
Yeah. With the Ant from Bug's Life. I think that's his name, right?
Anthony?
I have not seen Bug's Life in the longest time.
Yeah.
Oh, but actually, I really didn't need the joke of it's a circus cliche, and then
Yeah. That's the thing with this. There are a few jokes I really didn't need. So there's like that. Or there's a bit where, someone gets a tooth knocked out of the ice hockey and Cletus catches it and gives it to Gummy Sue. And she's like, now I was like Britney Spears, and stares down the barrel of the camera to smile. It's like,
The weird thing is she actually looked more like Tom Cruise than she did Britney Spears. Just
Come to think
Google
of it,
Tom Cruise's front tooth.
I've never seen them in the same room at the same time. Could Tom Cruise be Britney Spears?
sorry, I have to Google this now.
Yeah, he's got those two like weirdly flat direct front teeth.
No. It's just one tooth.
Oh, no, that's right. Yeah, I forgot.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, it's like right down the middle, like lines up with his nose. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And he's
Well, you
always
know.
like pointed at as like a.
It's the source of his power.
Tom Cruise's front tooth and Megan Fox's thumbs.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, because they like go backwards or something.
No, she's got club thumbs. They're like toes. They're like big toes on her hands.
Wow.
Two thumbs.
So some other wackiness. How about the wackiness of the actual reality show stuff? What did you guys think of that?
I do enjoy a good old-fashioned, ridiculous Victorian undergarments joke.
Oh, yep. Tying into a good blank screen, but like wacky Foley sound effects.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, various bits of steel unhinging and then just a saw out of nowhere. And
Yeah, Jesus, this comparison, like the bedroom scene
Yeah,
from this episode
Compared
compared
to
to
the last
the
one,
last one. Eey.
it's just chalk and cheese.
all right, weird sex playlist. All that going on while Maggie's in her fucking baby cage. Fucking weird.
Apu cannot sell them non-scarring toilet paper.
Ah, yep, that's true. Or Urkelos. Oh, they're delicious, but not allowed.
But forbidden.
Also, just Marge having the list for tampons.
Yeah.
Like, good prep.
I'm actually looking up Frinkiac. I'm pretty sure this is the first time that they've said the word tampons in The Simpsons.
I mean, to be fair, it doesn't come up a lot. But yeah, there's a bit where Apu's like, well, I'm sorry, they weren't invented in 1850. So for shits and giggles, I looked it up. The tampon was invented in 1929. And then next to that, I had to write a note saying, hi, future me. Because me is going to look at that and go, why the fuck did I write that down?
Oh, well, there we go. This is an educational podcast.
Yeah.
You can get Simpsons opinions and history. Aren't we good?
Yep. The history of feminine hygiene products and The Simpsons. That's what we offer you here.
But
Yeah.
wacky things. Are we allowed to talk about Bill Cosby?
Ah, sure.
Oh dear,
It's more
Bill
comfortable than
Cosby.
any other place to talk about it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about things that haven't aged well.
Yeah, it was. I think this whole thing existed so they could do the whole let's pick a family who hasn't been on TV forever. The Simpsons.
Yeah, and just have the then acceptable Cosby making a bunch of wacky Cosby kind of sounds with the bipping and the bopping and the
Pooping and the scooping.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what just a fucking awful pit stain that guy is.
Well, he's in prison now.
So he should be.
Yes, he should.
Yeah. Oh, and as of this morning, joining Cardinal Pell.
I
Fuck
know.
yes.
Probably not the same prison, though. Although that'd be great. That'd be great antics. Fantastic. Reality
It's
show
the
based on
classic
that.
Odd Couple.
Oh, God.
Da-da-da-da-da, you're in prison.
Yeah, so it is, one of those things that don't age well. Like, and yeah, we've seen it a bunch where the Simpsons will
but
do.
it doesn't age well in a way that is in no way their fault.
Yeah. But yeah, all the Cosby jokes, like, I'm dreading when we have to do the episode where, like, Homer's constantly referring to Fatherhood by Bill Cosby as a source for inspiration. And,
Yeah, or the one where he's all like, kids today listen to the rap music so they don't get the jazz with the hipping and the hopping and the bipping. Because we love that quote.
yeah.
To say, they don't know what the jazz is all about. Was something we used to just say all the time at music school and stuff, and now we can't say it anymore.
No,
Yeah.
you're not allowed to.
Yeah, it's tainted. So the other wacky thing, introducing Squiggy into the reality show to give it a
Yeah.
bit of life.
That was odd.
I mean, I kind of like the absurdity of it, but I don't think they used him enough to make it feel worth it, though.
Yeah, only for the line of, no, everything is ruined, our bellows, oscilloscope, squiggy, just drop it. Yeah.
So one of the guest actors for this episode was David Lander. That
Squiggy?
feels like it should be Landers, right? Stupid Landers. Oh no, just a single. He's not one of those plural last names. No, so David Lander, who of course was Squiggy on Laverne and Shirley.
Lander, I hardly know her.
Uh,
Yeah, it was terrible, but I had to do it.
he's related to the Mars rover. Lander.
That died recently, and it still hurts.
Don't frickin' bash opportunity. I cry every time.
What was
Battery
it?
low, and it's getting
Getting
dark.
dark. Oh God.
And Billie Holiday
Yeah.
to send her off.
Oh really?
Oh, really? I didn't know that part. God!
Yeah, that was the very last message.
Oh, man. So, other than, being Squiggy on Laverne and Shirley, this guy has actually got an amazing voice acting repertoire.
Oh, really?
Done lots and lots of kids' cartoons and that sort of stuff. And just while I'm talking about guest actors as well, Larry Holmes made an appearance in the Skybox. So, he was a professional boxer. For all you sports fans out there.
He did a
Sure.
sport.
And in my research, the interesting thing I found out about him that he actually had a big fight with Jerry Cooney. Like, it was a very controversial fight at the time because there was a bit of like racial elements to it where he was like accusing Jerry Cooney of getting accelerated because he was white and he had to work very hard. And so there was a lot of animosity and public spats going into the fight, but apparently they just had a really even, well-rounded fight and like
Nice.
several moments of them like looking at each other like going, damn, respect the hell out of you. And
Oh, man, why isn't that a movie?
I know, right? So ultimately Larry Holmes won that fight, but yeah, they became really close friends after that. So yeah, Jerry Cooney, sorry, who you might remember from the Casino episode.
Oh, yeah, go Glassjaw, auto knocks him out.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, I said bug off. That one.
So just while we're on wackiness, the highlight court in Lenny's apartment.
Oh yeah, that's the sound of the Corolla hitting the fronton. Relaxing.
And then just the callback to it, Homer atlasing the rock while saying, that Lenny sure had a crazy apartment.
Yeah. Which it was funny him
Atlasing.
sinking, but then it like turns his neck and you hear that and you're like, oh.
Yeah, but yeah, real quick snap away.
So Homer is dead and Marge is also a murderer because she and Lisa do that, one person lean behind them thing and push him over and the guy goes over a cliff.
yeah.
And they're all like, oh.
I
Yeah,
didn't
that-
even catch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just meant to be a charming, push over the daughter situation, but
Now there's blood on both their hands and on Lisa's back, I guess, because she...
yeah, they've got one of those mother-daughter secrets that you just take to the fucking grave. And so, when they were also looking for an alternate house, I really didn't think much of the comic book guy gag. Oh, here are my Galactic United Nations.
Yeah, because of all people, they wouldn't have gone to them. Like, it should have been a Patty and Selma joke instead.
Yeah, for real.
Why wasn't it?
I don't know, because I want to do the Galactic UN. I don't know, whatever.
And it was just like, sad notice. So any other wackiness want to mention before we move on?
Brand conference?
I actually
My
really...
God.
That was such a bland joke that turned so good. Because it's just like, they needed a reason why there were no hotel rooms. Like, okay, there's a brand conference. It's like, I'm just going to say it. We haven't had a single good idea since Raisin Bran. All right, let him
crazy!
speak. No, he's a madman. Oh, man, such drama in Bran. Sorry to jump all over your point there, man, but you tapped into something in my heart.
Friggin' beautiful.
They're right, though, and there hasn't been a good idea since Sultana Bran.
Have you had Quick Oats?
Quick Oats.
Oh, beautiful stuff.
Keep you regular as cod liver oil.
Nothing keeps you as regular as cod liver oil.
No. So, yeah, just last thing about the wackiness is, the 1800s, 1900 house where there was one joke where Lisa's doing up Marge's corset and she's like, oh, I'm liking my bust. And then she looks down at her fucking feet, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wild stuff. Oh, and we don't see it actually that much after like season 4, but yeah, there was a Moe's prank call joke in this one.
Via telegram.
Yeah. I liked how it was like era appropriate as well. Haywood, you cuddle me.
Golden cylinder, something, your junction.
I'll drive a railway spike where Prime Central meets your Union Station. Something.
Yeah.
The oldie railroad jokes.
Was it railroady?
Yeah.
I felt like it was nautical.
Oh, I'm neither of those things, so I don't know. But
I heard Golden Cylinder, so I thought Thomas Edison. The old thing that you used to play music on.
wax cylinders that were Edison.
They're wax, right?
Yeah.
Gold would be very expensive.
Yeah.
and terrible for communicating sound.
Mm-hmm. The funny name jokes that I really didn't think much of, though, was I'll marry someone that Dad picks out for me, and I wish you would consider Harlan Beatwythe. He's betrothed to Martha Take-a-Punch.
Yeah.
Not great.
With Cosby.
So it is one of those jokes where it should have just been, we should reconsider Beat Wife. What? It's just a name.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Although you can just lean right into that with the, finally, I'm no longer a slave to the Gillette Corporation.
Oh, Jesus.
Different
he bled.
times.
He bled so much.
I was more talking about the video than anything.
Yeah.
The what?
The
The
latest.
the commercial that made everyone angry, but happy, but angry, but happy, depending on
Gillette went and
what
told
side
us
of-
how to manhood.
whatever debate
That
you're
was
on.
Gillette.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's one of those things where the video is now kind of more popular and memed than the actual product in it.
Yep.
But no, I do remember, idiots showing pictures of them flushing their Gillette razors, and it's like
Yeah, it's like, okay, that ain't gonna flush, and all right, shit.
they're also disposable razors. You were going to throw them out anyway.
Yeah, it's hard to
You can
get
chill out with
hard to
Gillette.
get revenge on a disposable razor company.
It's like everyone burning their Nikes.
Yeah.
You've already invested the money.
I really like the people who just ripped the Nike logo off the shoe and it's like, you're still wearing them.
Now they're worthless.
Oh, I do remember there was one guy who, he had Nike socks and he cut the logo off the top of the socks so he could still wear the socks, but now they got no elasticity.
Yeah. Didn't think that one through, did you, guy?
No,
Yeah, just getting back to if there's ever a revolt against Bic, they're going to be like, oh, what are you going to do? Go to Parker? Yeah, fuck off.
yeah,
Bic, you need us, you bastards.
for real. All right, so let's talk about some of the heart of this episode. Did you guys feel any bumps?
No.
I kind of liked the family coming together at one point.
Yeah, I mean, their misery all shared, and they weren't angry at each other for that.
Yeah.
And then, it's something resembling heart.
Yeah, but I mean, again, with them trying to introduce late episode stakes and drama into it, really cut into that heart moment. And I just kind of wish there was more of the family sort of trying to overcome that shit together.
Yeah, there's nothing really strongly in there that was like, oh, this really sets my pulse racing with familial love. It was just, this is quite funny.
Yeah.
That was the main thing.
Yeah, and they sort of got it over in a space of a montage. And although I did quite like the little assembly line of making the jar of preserves, which Homer was just necking anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as far as a hard episode, there really isn't much to say on that.
Indeed, there is not.
So, yes or no, would you feel like an episode of The Simpsons? I'll try that again. But ultimately, though, guys, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Yeah, sure, for the most part.
Yeah, character integrity, anybody off model?
No, I mean, it's a little off model for Marge to be so insistent, but that's tampons and she needs those. So, fair enough. It's,
Again, Jordan's anal corner. Yep. So she goes 23 skidoo and she runs off, yet she doesn't take any of the items that Anyway.
Her yelling 23 skidoo, just what?
No, I mean...
That's my catchphrase, I'm Marge, bye.
No, it's appropriate.
Yeah, but is it?
And also, if you're on the internet, fellow listener, why don't you check out the 23 Skidoo, a song by my old band Altered Beast,
It's pretty good.
where we
Wow.
play in the time signature of 23/8. It was difficult and pretentious.
Mm.
I guess, like, the main thing that sort of irks me about this episode, that the ending does sort of remind me of the fucking Duncan episode with the elf jockeys and all that sort of shit. It's
yeah,
like,
oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they really didn't know how to end it, so how about abandoned reality TV show contestants murder the producers? Sure.
Why not?
Yeah, it feels like one of those, like, crab people endings.
I just couldn't eat enough kangaroo testicles. The weird thing is, now I can't get enough of them.
That is a weird but great line.
Yeah. Yes or no, would you watch this one again?
Yes?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it again. We're going to watch it again. We're going to put it in a playlist. What playlist does this go in?
Reality TV.
Yeah.
Probably at the end of a whole season rewatch of Total Drama Island.
Is that the cartoon?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's brilliant.
It is?
It's amazing.
I've not watched that, okay.
I only watched the first episode, and it was like, all it was introducing like 40 characters.
Yeah. And then they come back, and they come back, and they come back, and the endings are different in each country.
Real?
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Interesting. Other playlists that this one could go in. The Simpsons out of home? Have they been kicked out of their home much?
I ain't sure.
Yeah, a lot.
Like when the old Southern gentleman wants to duel with Homer.
Ah, good point. Yeah, and they go to the tobacco farm. Yeah.
Oh, they get the locks changed on them by the carnies.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, and they have to live in the treehouse.
Yeah.
They've been kicked out plenty of times.
There we go. That's 3. That's enough for a playlist. Oh, and I thought they'd done the circus tent cliche thing before. They did it in Faith Off, that episode we did the other
yeah,
week.
Yeah. But it didn't result in hallucinations.
Yeah, it did. Ralph.
Oh, yeah. Well,
And
I stand corrected.
I feel like there are more Simpsons on TV episodes, like quite a lot of them. I just
Yeah.
can't think of
Yeah,
any.
yeah.
right
Yeah,
now.
like when Bart gets famous.
Yeah.
The I Didn't Do It kid.
Mm-hmm.
And Homer's like been famous about 50 times within the Simpsons
For
universe.
sure.
Yeah.
How about an uncomfortable Cosby playlist?
Yeah. So yeah,
Just
this,
like get the stretchiest collar you have so you can do all the...
yeah. Yeah, so I think it's, this one, the one I mentioned before with the boxcar racer,
Yep.
when they watch kids say the darndest thing and he's talking about the Pokemon,
Yep.
Ooh.
and the Bleeding Gums Murphy one. All right, so BT, what would you change?
I'd give it a different ending. What ending that would be, I don't know. But a few jokes here and there do lag. Get rid of those. But I don't know how do you end this one, but something else. It's just, it feels so weird and rushed and out of nowhere.
Yeah. How about you, Tom?
I'd cut Bill Cosby and give it another 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, can't be Cosby.
Mini feature.
Yeah. Yeah. Changes that you can make are simple because I got to say, the jokes do have a pretty high batting rate, especially for like a mid-teens era episode. Like, we've definitely seen like a lot lower hit ratio. Yeah, I've crapped on about the ending a lot, but man, I think I'm in the same boat. I haven't got many good ideas.
It's tough, to be fair.
Yeah, like, to be honest, while I kind of like the jokes about the network trying to find new ideas to boost up the show by just resorting to watching televisions and stealing more ideas,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there could have been something fun that you could have done while sticking with the reality show there.
Instead of dropping them in the Amazon of all rivers.
Or they just leave them in their house as usual, and then there's just constantly cameras there anyway, and it becomes some kind of fabulous... No. Meta jokes are to later episodes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's even something to that the cameras have stopped rolling, but they're still there, and then just all of a sudden they didn't realize that, the show's not on anymore. I don't know.
No, I feel like I know where you're going with that of... They're just like, oh, you know what? The 1850s aren't working out. Let's go to modern times. We're going to hide all the cameras in your house, and you don't even know they're there. It's like, so we'll just be the Simpsons? Yeah.
Yeah, super meta though, right?
Yeah, it is a bit. But hey, it's amusing.
Musical moments. Were there any music stings and stuff that stood out to you guys?
There was a delightful little overture over the film grain section
Yeah.
in the Victorian-ish montage.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the Maple Leaf Rag.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Bum, bum.
Yeah. And yeah, they kept like returning to it every time they were like coming into scene for the house. I like that. Yeah.
Just pleasant and done pleasantly.
Yeah. pleasant piano music is pleasant. BT, any other notes?
Indeed. Some of the other shows that the studio has put forth is Mystery Injection and Tied to a Bear.
A mystery injection.
Yep.
I'd watch the fuck out of that show.
There's a weird little moment where Bart goes, I look like Buster Brown, whoever that is. Look him up. Yes, he does look like Buster Brown.
Really?
Yeah. He's a cartoon character from I Didn't Look It Up, and he looks like that.
Huh.
So I do like that Marge is like, oh, your friends are going to love that. They're going to wish they had that little outfit. That cuts to like the bullies, and they're like, man, I wish I had that little outfit. I know those curls.
Die for.
I do like Grandpa tunes into the elderly animal channel. A lion gets up, lazily wanders after a zebra, falls down. The zebra's like, haha, my turn now, and starts eating it.
Yeah. And the line is just like, eh.
You know what? It's my time.
How about you, Tom? Any other notes?
Hey, Ma, our crap shack's going to hell.
Yeah.
It's just so out of nowhere. And
Yeah, and then to have Homer fall down into the kitchen, he's like, a little privacy. And, oh.
Hidely ho, neighborino, as she opens the cupboard. It's just pleasant.
A Margerific way to start his Flandertastic day or whatever it was. Yeah.
It's just nice.
Yeah.
It's good, wholesome content.
Yeah, just that subtext of, Flanders like, I see you have a hole in your house, but I like it. I get to see you in the morning. That's nice.
All right, it's time for my final notes. I like how, in addition to the skybox entrance, there's a schnook entrance. What do they greet the Simpsons family with as they're walking in?
Cologne.
Cologne, yes.
Do you have anything with ground up whale in it?
But of course.
Hey, what do we get? And they're just pegged in the stomach. Hey, do we tip this guy?
Yeah.
Marge mentions the skybox looks like Moby's house when he was on MTV's Cribs. It was just like,
Yeah, it was weird.
wow, early noughties references.
But I will take the balanced joke of that. They already told the Skybox fans who would win.
Yeah. And then even Lisa was going on with it. Oh, yay, go our team. All those poor people watching hockey without sushi, if you can call that watching hockey.
Why did it smell like vinaigrette? Vinaigrette is not an ingredient in sushi.
That's true. Yeah, it's not even really.
Not in any of the sushi you can afford.
Touche. Man, I'm going to dox them, maybe. I don't know. Is that a word?
It is, but I don't think you're using it in the right context.
There's a sushi shop in the ground level at Hornsby across from the Woolworths, which, okay, I went there, got some sushi. They were like cash only. I'm like, ugh, I have to go to the ATM for the first time in years. Okay, fine. And then I noticed as I was paying for the sushi, there was a woman that was like manually filling up the little fish things for soy sauce. And I'm like, oh, that's strange. Maybe they save a couple of bucks by doing it themselves. And then when I was eating my sushi, I noticed that was fucking watered down soy sauce.
Ooh.
That is a sin.
Man, you walk around the corner, there's a much better one. It's one that's kind of next to the barber shop.
Yeah?
It's on the corner. First of all, takes card, and second of all, is good.
I'm sorry, there is no way there is saving money by paying someone to squirt out the sushi fish, water it down, and then fill the sushi fish up again.
Yeah.
How much does that person cost?
Yeah, that's like one of their cost-cutting measures to, save cents?
I mean, you've never owned a small business, Elliot.
Yeah, I know, but like, watered down soy sauce. Oh, and you could tell it was gross.
I tell you, once I was in the servo and a guy walked in and said, "Excuse me, mate, you sell any sushi here?" And I was like, just kind of stared at him like, "Who are you?"
I eat so much 7-Eleven food, it's not even funny.
I do it plenty of times, but like sushi and asking for it.
Oh, I eat the hell out of the 7-Eleven sushi.
Yeah,
really?
Okay, I didn't know
Oh,
that.
yeah, I do.
I didn't know they had sushi.
Okay, like, to be fair, because you're a vegetarian, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, meat goes badder a lot quicker.
Yeah, true.
I wouldn't touch their fucking chicken teriyaki.
I'm always thinking raw fish when I think sushi. So.
This is true.
Yeah, because, that's it. They have that, like, raw salmon one, and it's got, like, that totally not salmon pink. It's just, like, green, white, grey.
The rare color.
You're not going to find that on a Dual X color palette thing.
It's not in the Crayola box.
Homer did a really bad joke of when they arrived to Lenny's place. It's like, that's Lenny, I wanted the black one.
Yeah.
That landed badly.
Yeah.
It was just done in that Homer drag-out style with the better do.
I can't believe I have to say punchline. You already know the punchline. Yeah, that.
Tying into my next note, which is, when they were watching The Simpsons Family, the reality show guys, like testing them, and like Homer's choking Bart over, that'll teach you to whistle on the Sabbath. I liked that. And then they go, oh, this family falls to pieces over nothing. And then Homer's like, where's the boy with my latte? And then, that dragged.
Yeah.
And then again later, I did like the line of Homer not knowing what the chamber pot was and him thinking it was an army helmet.
Yep. Easy mistake to make.
Did you befoul our army helmet, Beach?
I've befouled a lot of things.
But I did like the very ending where they were like trying to come up with an idea and they were like almost getting towards a book club. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden Bart like says, hey, let's watch Homer drink from a hose.
It's so weird.
It dragged out, but I did like it.
I love Homer's honesty in this. Like, the water stopped coming out. Well, I'll just look with my eye.
It's very genuine.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Like, now it's stopped again. Perhaps I can hear what's going on.
It's time to rank this thing. BT, your turn to kick it off.
I'm a little split on this one because I really like how it starts, but I feel like it falls apart. But how do I rank that overall? I am going to go with my guts, and they say bronze. It's a higher bronze, but it's maybe not the best bronze. It's just stick the landing. That is like writing 101. Stick the goddamn landing, because that's what people are going to remember. That's why people, I think, are more down on this episode than they technically should be. There is a lot of good content here, but it's what you're left with at the end that just... So, it's some fun, but again, I reserve my right to blurt out later.
The blurt out course is in effect.
Yeah.
How about you, Tom?
Well, as someone who's watched all of Total Drama Island, I give it a silver.
Yep.
I genuinely think reality show may not be the most amazing premise, but there was just a lot of really good humor in here. I was actually laughing out loud, and it's just, I liked it. It was solid and wholesome and nice.
All right.
Nice.
Damn it, I was hoping hearing you two would help me out a bit. But...
We've given you nothing.
Because, these are the rankings that I'm split right down the middle between. You know what? I'm the nice judge. I'm gonna go silver as well. I have a lot of complaints about the ending, but we laughed out loud a lot watching this episode.
Hell yeah, we
The
did.
opening 2 punches, especially. I think that got all of us.
And the overall story arc isn't exactly what I have a problem with. It's just the specific ending. And even then, there were a couple of jokes I loved. I mean, I wrote Rune Nuts with a tick next to it in my notes. That was a good joke. And this will make this episode, on average, a dull silver. And I'm just going to mention this in the podcast now because I did an absolute fuck up recently. I mentioned before that I revisited one of the old podcasts recently, and I found out that I made a mistake. The spreadsheet was recorded that we made the Computer War Menace Shoes as a dull silver, and in many podcasts since then I've said it's a dull silver, but no, it was a shiny bronze. Shag gave it a bronze, you gave it a bronze beige, and I gave it a silver. So yeah, that was a mistake on my part. That is not a dull silver, it is a shiny bronze.
Man, we're going to have to revisit every single episode that you mentioned that episode on and redo it.
ADR.
Which is really easy with podcasts. You don't have to line it up or lip sync it with anything But no, there aren't many dull silvers. It'll be joining other such episodes like Simpsons Bible Stories, which we reviewed in the Vignettes of Vignettes, the recent one. The Strong Arms of the Ma, where Marge gets all buff and stuff and does terrible things to Homer.
All right. That came flooding back.
Yep. 24 Minutes, where they do a 24 parody. 500 Keys, which is a HD era episode that I really like. And also the Nedliest Catch.
This feels like some good company.
Yeah. All right, and now it's time for our classic episode. And I've got a visual hint to give you guys about what we're doing. What do you think we're doing this time?
It's Dignity, Elliot. It could not be more obvious.
That's Dignity? All right, guys, we're going to go watch a Milhouse Divided. We'll be back. And we are back, and we just watched our final and classic episode of the evening, and what a classic it was. This was Season 8, Episode 6, A Milhouse Divided. First released in December of 96, it was directed by Stephen Dean Moore, written by Steve Tompkins, and in this... Oh, come on, you know this one. This is the one where Milhouse's parents get divorced. Guys, what'd you think?
Delightful.
Dignity! That's my main thought.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Just straight into the questionnaire. For better or worse, what stood out for me? This episode has like 5 like constantly memed moments.
Yeah.
And I mean, Dignity, which we mentioned before the review, and I mean, we'll point out more that when we go through them, but I sleep in a race car. What are you? No, I sleep in a big bed with my wife. Just, that is so awesome. Kirky's so arrogant in that moment, and oh my goodness. BT, what about you? What's a moment from this episode that stands out to you, for better or worse?
I really like the kind of misdirects they've got in place here. So first you got the Homer does file for divorce. You're like, oh, what's going on here? You assume they're going to reset to 0, but there is a moment there of just, wait, what?
And the language he uses before that, Marge deserves someone better. She deserves a fresh start.
Yeah, so it's not dishonest. It is legitimately, it's just putting that little bit of question in there. So I really like that, and I also really like how then Kirk cracks out the Borrow the Feeling song. It, zooms on Luann and she does the slow turn around. And you think this is going to be the reset, and she's like, ew, no. So I really like that it's just a misdirect. I think the first time that happened, that would have floored an audience who were just expecting everything to go back to 0, but it finds a really funny way to not.
Well, yeah, this is why, I think it's important that we do this episode, and I probably should have done it earlier in the Simpsons Index run, because this is setting a pace for the next 10 years where Kirk and Luann are divorced. They do actually get back together, and I double-checked which episode it was, is season 17, Milhouse of Sand and Fog. And sort of after that, it's like they're kind of off, kind of on again, but they're mostly on. But yeah, it is amazing that they really stuck with it and had the bravery to.
Yeah, no, I really respect that.
And also, it means Kirk's line at the very end is right. I'll be back, probably. He was right. It took a really long time, but he was right.
Yeah. And I think it was a really brave thing for them to do, especially because they don't really have a prominent divorced couple in this series at all, as established before this. And I think it was a really good area for them to go into, and, probably meant a lot to, a lot of kids out there, and myself included, who had divorced parents. And yeah, how about you guys?
Did I have divorced parents?
Yeah.
No.
Nah.
I mean, none of the parents you know about.
Yeah. How about you, Tom? What's a moment from this episode that stands out to you, for better or worse?
Crackers are a family food. And frankly, it's a market we can do without.
I do love that. Maybe single people eat crackers, we just don't know.
So that's it. Goodbye, good luck.
I don't recall saying good luck.
Just out front, it's got one of the cracker companies, the dry cracker. When you want a dry cracker, think of this one.
And then just Marge slowly tucking the Allied
Allied
crackers?
biscuit.
Yeah.
Allied biscuit packet under the table.
Yep.
Just great.
Oh, so right there, another 2 memed moments. Can I borrow a feeling? And the cracker manager guy. This is such fodder for rock bottom this episode. And Kirk's rock bottom as well.
Oh.
So it's sort of interesting, this episode as well. Something else I wanted to point out is that, in the first episode we watched tonight, we were saying how it was sort of a negative, how Flanders was in the nuclear power plant, then in the school, and they didn't quite marry those two concepts. This episode, is mostly about Kirk and Luann's divorce at the start, and then it transitions to being about Homer and Marge.
Yeah, but I think it does that beautifully, because they kind of lay down the track work for that, where you get the joke of Bart breaks a chair across Luann's new boyfriend, then he breaks a chair across Homer. He's like, it's a basic stunt, Dad, come on. He's like, what's happening? Why?
Another memed moment, oh my God.
Yeah, Jesus.
But then they've got the great bit where Marge is calling out, it's like, hey, Luann and what's-his-face are taking us to Spalding Gray. I don't want to go to that. You said you would. And then he's like, fine, I'll go myself. And that's already laying that Homer being kind of a selfish jerk, that he's agreed to go this thing and then ignored it. But that's before you even know this is going to be a plot point. At that point, you just think it's a joke, that comes after being hit in the back with a chair.
Yeah.
So I really like how they're laying that, but hiding that in the joke work.
Well, they laid it even earlier with Marge wanting to have the party and Homer being really resistant. Oh, the toilet always gets clogged up. And then even when she's prepping for the party and she's Homer's just still playing slot cars in his underpants.
Just gonna put my shoes on.
Another memed moment. God damn.
Yeah, but she has the line of, I asked you to do one thing that was put clothes on, you didn't even do that. But again, it's just done in such quick passing, and you're still laughing at the slot machines.
Yeah.
Slot cars. Slot machines are very different.
Spalding Gray was an American actor and writer best known for his autobiographical monologues that he wrote and performed in theatre.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
So there we go. I mean, Pyro, he's a cultured man.
Yeah, clearly.
Not just your regular meathead gladiator. I like how his vehicle is one of those gladiator roll cages.
Yeah, pretty good. Although I will say at that point, Luann just leaves Milhouse home alone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but he's also driving a car around in the living room.
Yeah, also true. I'm just going with the quiet philosophy that Luann may be a cunt.
Well, one of my notes in this episode is this is very much on her side, I think, this episode. Like, there's a bit of implied snarkiness from Kirk that she might be on his case all the time, but man, from the moment they get to the party, Kirk's a fuckwit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, they do exchange blows like back and forth for a while, but then it all becomes kind of curt, and that's...
Yeah.
But then on the flip side of that, she boxes up his clothes and sets them on fire in the house.
Just humming happily to herself.
Yeah.
A musical moment. I like the nightlife. I like to boogie.
And burn clothes in the house. Fire hazard.
And then I wrote this down because I love it. Kaboom! Sweet Fanny Adams, goodbye.
Oh, she should have been singing Disco Inferno. Ah, there we go. Play count. How many times before tonight have you seen this episode?
Oh, countless times. Like 24 more, maybe.
Yeah.
Many's?
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. I really loved this episode growing up, and I couldn't put a number, maybe 50? I don't know. So how about some of the wacky elements of this episode? What were the cartoony things that stood out to you guys?
Not impossible wacky, but I like how the candles are different heights. Marge just hacks a couple of chunks off with her teeth.
Yeah, again, not impossible wacky, but like Marge prepping for the party, there's a lot of fun cartoony things there. Like,
Bart, put the doilies under the coasters.
yeah, and she's got the toilet seats in the dishwasher.
The hyper glazed ham.
There's so many glazes on that ham.
Accidental playlist of the Melon Baller playlist.
Oh my god!
Oh, it's so good.
The one bit of technology that she didn't want to be without in the last episode.
Yeah, this one she's like, ooh, it's not a dinner party until you have a melon baller.
Yeah, and she also gets a ravioli crimper.
And a crab hammer made in the USA.
And
No,
also-
thank you.
Just like, on the wacky side, I shouldn't have served those North Korean fortune cookies.
You are a coward. No one needs to hear that after a nice meal.
Oh,
I want to get some.
I know,
Why do they
for
not
real.
make Simpsons branded North Korean fortune cookies?
I'd buy them. I love fortune cookies.
Hell yeah.
laziness is counterproductive. What was the one from 30 Rock? You know enough.
Damn, that is good.
Oh, and Maggie sliding around in the Teflon coated bowl. I need to put that up on the...
That is science. That is non-stick.
Ah, there we go. And we had actually, Marge looked at a really nice punch bowl, and this was interesting because she mentioned, oh, we could just use it once and then return it. This would end up being a plot for a very divisive episode of the HD era episode of The Simpsons where...
They basically do that.
Yeah, and Homer then gets caught out because he's doing it so much, and he appears on Chris Hansen's show to catch a credit whore. To catch a credit whore.
That's no good.
I liked that episode, but yeah, that sucked.
That's just a terrible title. Haven't seen it.
Lona Lisa, I recommend watching it, but you were a participant on that one, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. However, I just read the word cornstarch keeps down the urges.
What?
Which just gets completely overshadowed because it's just before Dignity. So
Yeah.
I've never even clocked that quote before.
Me either.
But he draws 5 dots.
Cornstarch, Nettie.
It's like the bloke in the US who is with his wife, but still they're both...
What?
They don't
Cornstarch.
They don't concentrate. What is the word I'm going for here? They don't
Consummate?
consummate.
Yeah.
They don't consummate the marriage, and the guy eats a whole raw potato whenever he starts feeling it.
I feel like I'd start being attracted to potatoes. More so.
I think raw potatoes are poisonous.
I don't know about poisonous. Elliot, you're Irish. What can you tell us about potatoes? Sorry, I hear the woke police coming for me.
PC.
Thank you for landing my joke. Sorry.
As it isn't the joke, they're not enough.
Yeah. I don't know. Are raw potatoes poisonous?
All right, you know what? There is one way to find out. Get me a potato.
Live stream.
Live stream eating a raw
Yeah.
potato. The new Twitch craze.
That'll be the potato challenge.
Yeah.
It'll be like the Bird Box challenge, and now people are endangering themselves with potatoes.
Yeah.
So,
wonderful.
quick question. Why don't they consummate?
I think they were quite religious.
Pious. Okay.
Pious.
Okay.
Something.
Cornstarch. I love how Ned delivers the line though, because like that, oh, here's a sex tip kind of voice, but it's like keeps down the urges.
I'm sorry, but how?
Well, I mean, if you had a wang covered in cornstarch, you probably wouldn't feel too sexy yourself. I don't know.
Oh, Nettie.
I'm guessing he's just dousing in it.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe you just snort it. I don't know how that would help. But...
Sprinkle it on your raw potato. Eat the whole thing.
That's just literally starch on starch.
Keeps down the urges.
My goodness. Oh, yeah. So we meet Kearney's kid in this episode.
He sleeps in a drawer.
That was so cute. The thing I like about this scene, and it harkens back to another thing I like about Nelson, where when he finds something relatable in another one of the kids.
Yeah, and he's like, your mum's a jailbird. Yeah, so's yours. Yeah, let's go play.
Yeah. Like that, then he was nice to Bart, and now he's being nice to Milhouse. It's like, oh no, by all means, my dad left my mum when she got hooked on cough drops. Her breath was so fresh, she wasn't really my mother anymore. Which is a much better explanation than what we get later on in The Simpsons, where Nelson's father legitimately went out for a packet of cigarettes and suffered a massive anaphylactic shock from peanuts, so then he was
put in a freak show
in a circus where they kept throwing peanuts at him.
And then Bart somehow found him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are things that happened.
These are things that happened in The Simpsons.
So how about the heart of this episode? Did you guys feel there were bumps?
Man, the bit where Dr. Hibbert diagnoses someone that he has to amputate their butt. Oh, man.
Wow, okay, so that was Bart. He was just doing a very flawless impression.
Oh, wow.
I'd close my eyes during the episode.
This is a very different sort of heart we get in this episode because it is the breaking up of the heart.
Yeah, and I really like the subtle ways they bring this up, especially for Milhouse, who, when he thinks Nelson is making fun of him, he doesn't care. He's like, oh, I bet you're going to say, ha, ha. Now he's like, doesn't care anymore. He's like ready to confront him directly when he's driving the car around. He knows he's getting away with it. When Land's like, oh, do you need to be driving that in the house, sweet, sweet treasure? Like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the subtle ways they kind of bring that out. So he goes from this carefree kid who's all like, oh, well, if you must amputate my butt.
I'm off to the beauty salon.
Yeah, exactly. To very subtly just angry and venting in whatever way he can.
It's just so deftly handled. Like, you're not seeing it getting ham-fisted like the way you would on...
For real.
Oh, what's his face's show? The one Drake was on for however long, the after-school special.
Oh, not Northern Exposure, Degrassi Junior High.
Yeah, this is no
Degrassi High.
Degrassi here. This is The Simpsons handling something better than a show that was explicitly created to handle these kind of things.
Yeah.
It's humor just doing it well.
Yeah, and they don't stop and focus on it at any point. It's just there, and I like that.
It's an acknowledgement.
Yes.
Yeah, it's sort of, now that I think about it, it's kind of weird that Milhouse doesn't actually appear in this episode more and you don't sort of see the effects, but I guess because of that, it does leave room for them to do that more in the future.
Yeah, and I suppose because at this point, we would have assumed it would reset to 0. So to spend a long time on the effect on Milhouse would feel a little bit moot because we're like, look, this isn't going to stick, kid. Why are we spending so much time looking at it?
Yeah.
On a guess. I mean, who can remember how they first felt when they watched this? But
well, I mean, apparently they did pull the focus more on Homer and Marge in the end because they just didn't feel like the Van Houtens could carry the weight of an episode for a full 20 minutes, which, to be fair, is probably a good point. They're not exactly the most fleshed out characters.
And it'd just be catfighting, as opposed to something more wholesome.
we'd have to understand why Luann doesn't have eyebrows.
What? You don't?
Is that ever explored?
I don't think so.
Oh, there we
The
go.
origin of Luann's eyebrows.
You're welcome, Simpsons writers.
Yeah, there's another point that they could do. And, Van Houten eyebrow playlist as well. Lower those eyebrows, young man.
And the other one, too.
So, yeah, I think it's an interesting angle as well to have Kirk, do all the single dad cliches as well. And then the moment that Starla steals his car, it all come crashing down on him.
Yeah, and then it's the great little impetus for them to switch the focus onto Homer when he's like explaining everything he's done wrong. And Homer's like, oh, yeah, you got to do that.
And all the things he's listing are things that Homer's clearly not doing. I should have helped with the housework. I should have stayed in shape. I should have made her feel special. It can't just all be about sex. It just can't. And then it leading to... This is like another one of Homer's half-assed over...
Like his half-assed over-parenting.
Yeah. It's his half-assed overbearing relationshiping thing. And
But no, I really like that. I appreciate that Homer in this one doesn't need it explained to him that he's not doing well, figures it out on his own and tries to fix it on his own. I mean, he tries to get Lisa's help. But, I really love that scene where he's got like, I know I haven't been treating you right, honey, so when to that place you went last night and got a season tickets. Be like, an evening with Philip Glass. Just an evening. And then one of my all-time, I pre-laughed at this pretty hard, where he's like, okay, you just go back to sleep, my dear. I'll make soothing ocean sounds.
Yarr. Then he goes to pirate heart. Yarr, BT.
I love that bit.
And the other bit of heart moment that I wanted to mention is that, they do a flashback to the actual episode where they get married.
Yep.
And we get that sort of a bit more fleshed out. How did you guys think that scene played out?
A little more depressing than it did the first time, because the first time through, you've got Marge has the line of, I'd be lying if I said this is how I picture my dream wedding, but you are how I picture my dream husband. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Even though they're, at Shotgun Pete's wedding chapel. But in this one, you've got the moment of, it seems less and less likely all my friends and family are going to jump out and yell surprise. So,
Oh,
Yeah.
that stings.
yeah, and like Homer's already ignorant. She's like, Levi's jeans. Huh, you think that truck has jeans in it?
Yeah.
And Marge's just like,
But then when they do the second wedding, he brings it out and the friends jump out and they say surprise.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that moment lands. That's a good bit.
Yeah. Oh, this episode's got wonderful foreshadowing.
Mm.
But ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Indeed.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, characters are on point. Like, we're definitely seeing a different Kirk and Luann because they were kind of tertiary and non-consequential before.
Yeah, but now they have consequence, so that's fine.
Before, they were just Milhouse's parents that looked like each other.
Yep.
And yeah, in a later episode, Milhouse says he's pretty sure that they're cousins. Like,
Ooh.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, Simpsons' late era continuity is disgusting.
Although they did do that Game of Thrones episode, so
Yeah, that's true. But yes or no, would you watch this one again?
hell yeah. I probably already have in the time we've been talking about it.
Yeah, just replaying it a little bit.
Yeah, this one's burned into my eyelids. I actually forgot to say on the integrity as well that, I mean, they're breaking up characters, which is sort of changing the show going forward, but I think they did it in a very Simpsons-y way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to watch it again. We're going to put it in a playlist. What playlist does this one go in?
Melon baller.
Pyro playlist?
Oh yeah, he shows up a couple of times, doesn't he?
Yeah, especially when Luann is...
Cheating on Pyro with his best friend, Gyro.
And then they have the Gladiator Gauntlet battle. Fuck, I loved that show as a kid. Did you guys ever watch it?
Gladiators, yeah.
Yeah.
I watched the lame Australian version.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's what we had.
Woody Allen related ones.
Oh, yeah.
For the Woodsy Allen conversation. That is beautiful.
Yeah, I like his movies, but that weird neurotic nerd that's in all of them is just a little off-putting, or something, whatever the line is.
Oh, actually, that's one moment where Luann gets snipey with Kirk, Oh, if you want to talk about nervous.
Ask Kurt about the teens who egged our house.
Car.
Car.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't eaten that good since I was in the army. All that noisily. So there we go. Kirk used to be in the army.
I guess.
Man, he must have been backline infantry.
Well, I mean, someone's got to man the artillery and hide behind it.
I was thinking more supply chain.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe.
biscuits to biscuits.
Yeah.
Rations
It
are
was just,
basically
yeah,
biscuits.
Ration chief or whatever that is.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
Dry crackers.
Yeah.
Yep, Cracker Factory playlist.
But how do they get those crackers with the filling already in them? Ha! Put on this hard hat and come with me.
I think it was an interesting detail as well that she mentioned that her father got him the job at the Cracker Factory.
Yeah, it kept continuity, but explained it a little bit more.
Yep. BT, what would you change?
I'd add more Spider-Verse. I don't think I particularly want to change anything. It all goes pretty well. I don't think I have any down arrows in my notes here. Nope, just spend more time in those North Korean fortune cookies. They sound good.
Tom, anything you'd like to change?
I would add another layer of glaze on the ham. That's it.
It was not bright enough.
Just slightly brighter.
Just even the sound it makes it.
Yeah, shit. It's not necessarily that I want to change anything about this episode, but I am curious what else could have been done, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if
The
there-
alternative cuts.
yeah, like I'm curious if there was a bit more Milhouse in this episode. I'm curious if there was even a bit more Luann, because I think we get more Kirk than Luann in this episode. But ultimately, this one had a really hard task on its hand of changing established characters going forward in The Simpsons, and I think it did a really fantastic job of it. It's, yeah, one of these ones where it's like, no complaints, really. Any other musical moments that stood out to you guys?
Hey, do you guys like the Doobie Brothers? Because we got one of them.
Yeah.
The wedding band, they play some smooth jazz.
Fuck, and they, pick up the sheet music to borrow a feeling really quickly.
I like that Kirk's carrying that as well.
You never know.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know. You might bump into a record executive or Prince.
And I mean, his demo reel's already broken, so you just need to take the step down technologically.
Yeah.
That is such a good point. Yeah, all he's got is his sheet music now. He lost his tape.
Mm-hmm.
I did have another one. Oh, yeah, Lisa singing something.
I
Lisa, come in and sing for us.
I do
You're a
love that.
grand old man. Yeah.
Yep.
And of course, Can I Borrow a Feeling? Oh my goodness. I never thought about it much, but does he rhyme love with love?
Yes.
Oh God, the song is so lame.
The hurting hearts need some healing.
Yeah.
Take your hand with my glove of love.
So yeah, he rhymes jar of love with glove of love.
Yep.
Oh man, I've never thought about how pathetic that is. So the band with the Doobie Brothers playing, I'm pretty sure they were playing True by Spandau Ballet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were.
Yeah. I know this.
Much is true.
Sometimes just to amuse myself, I write my own Weird Al parodies. Just insert food into it. And my one for this one is, I know this lunch is food.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Weird Al, call me.
I know this cheese is blue.
Oh. BT, any other notes?
I do really like when Kirk leaves it on. That's how it is. One day your wife's making your favorite meal. The next you're thawing hot dogs in a gas station sink. And then when Homer comes home, he's like, I left you hot dogs. They're thawing in the sink. They're dun, dun, dun. And one just falls off just at the right moment.
Hey, Dad, there's buns in the cupboard.
I like when Luann's telling. It's like, I'll tell you a story. It's a story about a man who was given a job at a cracker factory. Boring. Just Homer interjecting. So you get that little bit of comedy to balance
But then his
out the
managerial impotence. Oh, here we go.
Ooh, now I get spicy.
Yeah.
Yep. 3 cavities, your fewest ever, Bart. I'm going to make you a favorite. Butterscotch chicken.
That sounds fucking amazing.
It
I
really
want.
Oh.
I'm a sucker for butterscotch. I may be 80. I'm not sure.
I don't know. When was the last time you checked? And just, smooth jazz playing over the credit sequence.
Yeah. Put this in with the modified music end credits playlist.
Yeah.
And get a better name for that playlist. Chop, chop. How about you, Tom? Any other notes?
I just love the delivery of these things happen $8. Just no pause, no break. Just
Yeah, especially after the drummer about to follow for divorce. Dun, dun.
Yeah. They really try and drive home the heavy emotion with that, and then she's just like,
just like Prime DMV.
Yeah.
Prime Service New South Wales.
What we'd eventually call Scruffy.
My name's Scruffy. I'm a janitor.
No wash bucket. It'd be nice for a while. Oh, it really would. But we both know it wouldn't work.
Now go before I beg you to stay.
Scruffy don't die how he live.
Oh, marmalade. Scruffy, give me some varmint grease. What viscosity do you need? Oh, Scruffy index. Sorry?
It goes on like this during the wedding vows, just like the description of that vehicle, whatever it is, it's gone out of my head now.
Yeah, well, it's like in slowness or in a jet-powered, monkey-operated...
Flying through the Alps, and it just goes on like this. In sickness and poorness is underlined.
Yep.
And also, you can't overlook, that first few minutes when they're talking about, need clear plates. And you're going to eat from a trough. And the Mexican standoff between all the pets and Maggie.
Yeah, I even wrote that down. I forgot to mention it.
They're just great moments.
Yeah, and Homer winning in the end as well, as they're all poised and looking at each other. But yes, the trough line, fucking hell. I have quoted this so many times over the years. It's just, it's such a funny imagery.
Not a trough, it's an elongated bowl.
But also the clean plates as well. I remember this as being one of the things that, I saw this episode before my family did, and, at least early on, we were, dinner in front of the TV, and I was able to use that line and,
Nice.
get a laugh. But then we ended up sitting around the table like a civil family.
Yeah.
Lame.
I do love Marge having a conversation with herself. Hi, Marge. How's the family? Shut up. I don't want to talk about it.
Mind your own business. Homer, keep it down in there, everybody. Was that all your notes?
I wrote Stoner's Pot Palace.
It's flagrant false advertising. Yeah, one of my favorite sign gag jokes, obviously. All right, it's time for my final notes. I almost did the rank this thing cadence, but
no, I was confused.
I'll leave it in. I like how Kirk's single friends came around and it's like, hey, there's a possum in the pool. Just throw it across the fence at Arby's. Let them deal with it.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, slamming on Arby's playlist. And then, oh yeah, he's a very big deal down at the sewing shop.
Thanks for introducing us.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, and the way Starla drinks and has the cigarette in her mouth at the same time.
It's gag-inducing.
But yeah, the drink is putting out the cigarette, implying that, yeah, she's drinking some... Ugh.
Yep.
I don't know if you've ever been at a bar and you've been drinking a beer and you accidentally drank some of the beer that someone put a cigarette butt in.
Not a good time.
No.
I mean, I've done it intentionally. Does that count?
Pardon?
I've done it intentionally. Does that count?
Oh, really?
Used to be Chessel's thing of you do your ashtray shot.
Oh, no, not with the butt, but there was cigarette ash in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done that before.
Ah, okay.
I'm just thinking of the ashtray juice that you leave outside and it just slowly collects with rainwater. Do a shot of that.
No, that's just condensed cancer.
No, I do remember one time there was a dare to drink bong water at one stage, and it got about that far away from my mouth before I was like, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, gross.
Yeah, if we're doing a cross-series playlist, do this with the Seinfeld episode where Kramer necks an entire beer while having a smoking cigarette in his mouth.
Well, that's amazing because he doesn't extinguish it at the same time.
Yeah. The funny thing is, he did 2 takes of that, and in the one they didn't use, he lets out this massive burp at the end of it.
That also has the smoke in it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And they left it in for one of the clip shows or something. But the reason they didn't use it in the episode is it got too big of a laugh. And one of those things where it made all other things in the episode unfunny because that was just too fucking hilarious.
Wow.
It is time to rank this thing. Tom, kick it off.
I'm all the way up there.
All the way up into the cubic?
Oh, yeah. Cubic zirconia, all the way.
All right.
Shiny.
I'm going cubic zirconia as well. I think there's just... not only are there so many fantastic, memeable moments, but this episode, it holds up today. And yeah, like I said, it had a really hard task in breaking up 2 characters and setting up some continuity for the series going forward that I think is actually really important. I think that they had representation for a kid of divorce is just actually amazing. BT?
There are a lot of ticks in the positive of this one, but I'm going to go with the gold. For me, it's just not quite on that level of perfection. It is a solid as hell episode, really well paced, a lot of great jokes, a lot of memeable moments, but doesn't quite crack that 101% for me.
Fair enough. And that's what cubic is. Gold is 100%, cubic is 101.
Holy cow.
All right, well, averaging out, this will be a dull cubic zirconia, and this will be the 5th episode from season 8 to get that ranking. It'll also be joining Bart After Dark with the whorehouse.
Spring in Springfield?
Sorry, Burlesque House, I should say.
I mean, there's a difference, Elliot. If you went to more houses of ill repute, you would know.
Lisa's Date with Density, which I still resent you for giving a gold on that
I'm
one.
still right.
That's the one where Lisa and Nelson hook up.
That's a great episode.
It's a great episode. It's gold.
This was a great
gold
episode.
Gold is a great rank.
In Marge We Trust with the Listen Lady.
Now listen, lady.
And also the other season 8 episode in Dull Cubic Zirconia is Simpsons spin-off Showcase, which, yeah, I was the gold on that one.
That one is a tough one because it's intentionally cringy, and it's hard to debate because they've nailed it, but it's still cringy. But that was the point. Yeah,
because that's the thing. I think the first 2 segments were uproariously hilarious and cringy, and they fucking nailed it. But then, yeah, the last segment was, dragged it down for me.
That's fair.
All right, well, that about does it for the Simpsons Index for this week. But before we get out of here, we like to just briefly talk about some other things outside of the Simpsons that we've been into lately. Books, TV, movies.
Musical movies.
Yeah, sure. Musicals. Have we had a musical yet? Any media outside of The Simpsons? We'll start with you, BT. What have you been into?
All right. I checked out a series on the Netflix called The Kirlian Frequency. So if you like short, weird fiction like Twilight Zone or very much in the vein of Welcome to Night Vale, this is a 10-minute, 5-episode series that's animated and in a very kind of minimalistic style. Really good. Really, really enjoyed it. It is 100% my kind of thing. So, yeah, that's Kirlian.
Yeah. Curlian.
They pronounce it Kirlian.
Oh, okay.
Kirlian. It's but apparently it's an Argentinian series. It's been redubbed very well in English. Hopefully, there's more on the horizon.
Does it star Cillian Murphy, the guy who was the straw man in Batman?
You know, it's the strangest thing. It actually doesn't.
I was going to go for Kirlian Knightley. That's all I've got.
It's strange. They spell and pronounce their names differently.
How about you, Tom? What have you been into?
Oh, I've just watched a lot of The Umbrella Academy.
I've been hearing things.
Every time I see the ads for that, I'm like, this looks like a mess.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Yeah?
I mean, it's just great to see Ellen Page in superhero things again. It's a really good cast. There's a few things about it that are pretty funky, like a couple of the design choices, but I'm really excited to see it get a second season. And bloody hell, some of the performances in that. And like, they're animated chimpanzee. Chimpanzee? No.
I don't know.
They have an animated chimpanzee in it?
They haven't. It's in the ape family or in the chimp family, whatever that is. Pogo, we love Pogo. Justice for Pogo. He's beautiful.
All right. Well, I mean, I'll be honest, I've been hesitant because I really don't like My Chemical Romance, and it was written by Gerard Way, the lead singer.
Oh.
Yeah, he wrote the original comic book series.
Yeah, the Dark Horse comic.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But I should let go of my own prejudices at some time, you know.
It's worth your monthly subscription fee. I'll put it that way.
Oh, wow. Well, 3 for 3 with the Netflix here. I'm going to recommend a series. This is Larry Charles's Dangerous Comedy, Dangerous World of Comedy, maybe. So Larry Charles was one of the writers and producers for Seinfeld. He also directed a lot of the Sacha Baron Cohen movies, Borat and Bruno and all that. And he has always sort of delved into controversial comedy, and he is a really gifted mind. And so what he's doing in this series is he's looking at dangerous comedy. And like the first episode, he's talking to people in, you know, dangerous countries about their comedy. Like he goes to Iran and Iraq and Liberia and talks to people who are doing comedy in countries where they'll probably get killed, you know, and telling the stories of the people that do. And in the second episode, he's like talking to soldiers about them using comedy, not just American soldiers either, but yeah, soldiers from dangerous countries. It is a very confronting series at times. Like in the race episode, he talks to a bunch of alt-right guys and it's hugely uncomfortable, but I think it's really important that it's shining a light on all these areas and like really making you think and all that stuff. So yeah, I absolutely recommend it as something that's gonna test you, but it's not an easy watch either. So
very cool.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that does it for the Simpsons Index for this week. Tom, thank you very much for joining us this week.
Pleasure to be here.
Is there anything you want to plug? Or
if you need someone to do your Spotify ad, check out thomasgburt.com.
Wow, what are we waiting for?
Or don't. It's up to you.
And how about you, BT? Not a video game you want to plug?
You know I will always.
Come on, where's Hollow Knight Watch this week?
I am trying to curb my enthusiasm for this follow-up, because I need to lower my expectations because they're already through the roof.
Yeah.
So when Silk Song comes out and is like the best game ever, I need to be not expecting it.
Yeah.
So calm my tits. No, if I'm going to plug anything, it's as if this year was designed for me. Not only is Hollow Knight 2 coming out, but also Darkest Dungeon 2.
Oh, really?
So, yes.
Oh, well.
I will be looking forward to being killed repeatedly and frustrated and cursing, but having so much fun. Wow.
Excellent. Yes. And I've been your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill. That's all the mustard in the house.
It's dignity.
In the Milhouse.
I'll be back.
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can chat to us online at facebook.com/thesimpsonsindex or at Simpsons Index on Twitter and Instagram. And now please stay tuned for the bonus scenes!
And we are back, and we just watched our classic and final episode for the evening. This was season... Nope, I got that around the wrong way. Sorry, I wrote season 6, episode 8, but it's episode 6 of season 8.
Waka waka.
And we are back, and we just watched our... Fuck. I'd already done that bit.
Take 3.
Whoa. I'll just start again. And just double checking, that's a name you'd want to use for...
Yeah, it's a name I like well enough.
Yeah.
It's the name I was given at birth.
Yeah. But that's your professional working name as well, and what you want to be advertised as.
It's a good one.
Excellent. All right, and I pronounced it right.
Yeah.
Wasn't a silent T.
No.
Hummus.
I meant on Burt, but that's even funnier. And
Umber. Like we've changed traditions. We used to like traditionally burp into mic, and now we open beers into mic.
yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, because I told you how I was listening to, like, episode 4 the other day.
No.
Because, yeah, going down and recording with Shut Up and Take My Podcast, so thought I'd just see what we said about the Simpsorama, the Futurama crossover
that was
then.
episode 4. Jeez.
Yeah. All the way back in the first Fry July of the Index.
Wow.
All right, so there's a lot to cover there. So, Beach invented a holiday called Fry July.
Yep.
Which is where you celebrate Futurama all July.
That's a really good plan.
Because people are like, oh, it's Dry July. I'm like, that's stupid. What about something good like Fry July?
I like that.
And it's fun because every year I'm the only person making that hashtag.
Ah, I should tell the Baby Beard guys about it.
Yes, you should.
They'll probably get into it too. And then there'll be 2 Instagram
And
feeds
then it
acknowledging.
spreads.
You're going to have 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Fry July spreading. We've tripled our numbers. If these trends continue.
I need to get the box sets beyond 4.
All right.
Because, yeah, I've been, like, revisiting some of the newer Futuramas, and I think they get a bad rap, you know? I think it only started getting bad in the last season.
The Comedy Channel era.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's that bad. It just gets really avant-garde.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think they were just like, well, fuck it. We're going to get cancelled anyway. Let's do whatever the hell we want. It was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
But, yeah, in the Comedy Central era, like, they got a lot more dirty and, like, risque and sexual and stuff, so I think that was, like, a bit too much for some people.
Yeah. Fair
Like-
enough.
Like, I know my friend who has kids, she was like, okay, that episode where Bender was having explicit sex with the soda machine robot was...
Yeah, I mean,
It's a good episode, though, Bev.
yeah.
Fellows, this may be a reference to the pudding cup snack in America.
Ah.
I'm not certain, but right in, pudding. Oh, hello.
Hello, Pudding.
Welcome back to Talking with Pudding.
the Swedish zebra.
Swedish zebras are carnivores?
No, they're just very fond of euthanasia.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Also, it almost sounds like a tongue twister. Swedish zebra.
Swedish zebra, Swedish zebra, Swedish zebra.
That house.
And that was all your notes?
That is all my notes. Swedish zebra. Swedish zebra. What else we got?
We haven't added to our list of tongue twisters in a very long time.
Let's review some classics.
Swedish zebra.
A synonym for cinnamon.
Yeah, what am
A
I?
synonym for cinnamon, a synonym for cinnamon, a synonym for cinnamon, a synonym
Man, you
for
have been
cinnamon.
really practicing your
Yeah,
voiceover work. You're
all that
like,
elocution, man.
yeah. Very eloquent.
Crack out the classics. My favorite is still Omer and Uma own an okra puma.
Bob Loblaw's Loblog?
Yeah, that's on here.
That's a low blow. Fuck. That's a low blow, Loblaw.
Along with Bob Balaban's Ballad Band.
She sat upon the balcony, inexplicably mimicking his hiccuping and amicably welcoming him in.
Fuck.
Ah, noise.
I'm assuming this is all going in the podcast.
Oh yeah, for sure.
At least in the bonus
Deleted
scenes.
scenes, yeah.
So that was it for your notes?
That's it for me.
Beach. The question.
Oh yeah. So we have another question we like to ask, and I apologize, it is a tough one. But if you could have a sandwich named after you, what would it be? Or if that's too tough, best sandwich?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Give me a panini
Mm-hmm.
covered in antipasto,
Yeah.
stuffed with feta. Sprinkle a little bit of blue cheese in there. Not too much to overpower the feta because you don't want to mix your cheeses like that. But
Mhm.
just a shit ton of antipasto. And then shove it inside me.
Toasted or non?
Oh, strong toasted.
Yeah.
And
Get a little melty on the cheese. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a secret sandwich board hidden in our website, you know. And
It's not that well hidden.
I'm not that good at building websites.
You too can build a not so great website with Squarespace. Squarespace makes it easy to make an average website.
Yeah, wait, why don't I look to Squarespace for a sponsorship?
We should.
Yeah,
And if they don't say yes, threaten to switch to Wix.
it's every other podcast.
yeah, for real.
That and like stamps.com.
I was
Stamps.com.
about to do the Mark Maron stamps.
Oh, wonderful.